Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a wonderful second Monday. Whoops, I mean Tuesday. I've always hated Tuesdays. Um, I'm having a decent one so far. I didn't sleep worth a shit and my face hurts, so that's a win, right? That's what you look for when you wake up. Like, oh man, I'm so tired, and dear Christ, did somebody hit me in the face with a hammer? That's all right. We're not gonna dwell on that stuff. I actually want to talk about some news things that I've seen, uh, and maybe give you a preview of the video I have coming up. I am going to be responding to Razorfish, y'all. I've never done that before, and I don't necessarily disagree with them on a lot, but we'll probably talk about what I disagree with them. Let's just do that right now. I woke up this morning to pictures of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. These are let me bring up that fucking tweet because it was amazing. Um, it, I was reminded of Polly because Polly is often pointed out these instances where you have these Instagram models who are they just happen to get caught in this pose that happens to just be perfect, and their little purse just happens to be right next to it. It's a completely faked photo, and by faked I mean staged. Um, but it's pushed off so that it looks like it was just, oh, how did you catch me like this? And that's kind of what I woke up to today with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There was this series of pictures, and the tweet says, before AOC hit the national stage and was just a fairly unknown House candidate from New York City, she took time away from her campaign and came down to Tornillo, I don't know, to protest the tent city housing migrant children. I made these previously unpublished photos a year ago today. And look at this completely just happened to catch her looking dead into the fucking camera. Yeah, that wasn't staged at all. You'll notice how every one of these pictures doesn't catch that tent city at all. Doesn't. Far says she looks awful in those. No. See, you're missing the point here, Far. She's supposed to look awful. She's supposed to look awful because she's sad. She's not Hillary Clinton sad. She's not that kind of sad. She's generally torn up. Look at her. Look, she's just been crying. Well, not really crying. She's been rubbing her eyes because she couldn't actually make tears happen. But yeah, look how upset she is. Look how upset she is. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? This is what you're putting out there, is that Miss Cortez, she just cares that much. And this is why I'm going to respond to Razorfish. You're like, but these came out today. How? Razorfish made a video yesterday, I believe it was. Yesterday, day before, everything runs together with me. It's his most recent one I've watched, and I do believe it is his most recent one. But he's talking about this dipshit and her nonsense about concentration camps down at the border. Not the concentration camps, which she says Liz Cheney was the one to directly compare to the Holocaust. It wasn't her saying never again. No. When she said they're concentration camps and we need to think of never again, she wasn't comparing them to the Holocaust. No, because that would be fucking retarded to compare those to the Holocaust. As many people have pointed out, since she compared him to the Holocaust. Well, she's decided that was actually Liz Cheney who did that. And she actually tweeted that out yesterday. Hey, Poppy, how you doing, sweetheart? Hi, Nuts. I saw you say hi earlier. To the sweethearts in the chat that I try to always say hi to. Anyway, she actually tweeted that out. Yes. Reminder. Remember, here, let me put this on the screen so you all know I'm not bullshitting you. And I mean, with Ocasio-Cortez, a reminder, the member who directly and explicitly, and yes, I know I'm saying that wrong. Scribe tried to correct me on that last night. Explicitly compared concentration camps on our border to the Holocaust was Liz Cheney. No, that was you. That was you. We all saw it. We all heard it. You actually said it on a video, you crazy bitch. What did you think never again meant? The- what other of those concentration camps that you've listed off in your nonsense was never again a slogan for, sweetie? Oh, that's right. None. God. But we're at this point where we're we're treating this woman like she's smart, and they've been doing it since she was elected. And this is actually what I want to challenge Razorfist on, because Razorfist rightfully points out that she's a moron. She's a moron, and you're not going to get an argument from me about that. I am fairly certain if there's a world record in calling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez a fucking moron, not only do I have the record, I have it by a long shot. It is something that nobody will ever be able to overtake me on. So it's not that I'm going to disagree that she's a moron, because she absolutely is. But he makes the argument that she's very much like Anita Sarkeesian, in that if you would just ignore her, she would go away. And with Anita, you might have a point there. And Anita, she's kind of going away. She's down to her last $30,000 over there at Feminist Frequency, spending upward of $300,000 a year. That don't math, sweetie. So Anita's probably going away. But Ocasio-Cortez is a House member, and unless the party decides to primary her ass, she's going to be a House member for the rest of her life. She is in a district that, Nancy Pelosi did not say this as an insult, but Nancy Pelosi pointed out that Ocasio-Cortez won in a district where a glass of water could have won. She said the same thing about her own district. That's how you know Pelosi wasn't being insulting there. She was merely stating fact. It doesn't take much to be a Democrat and win New York's whatever district that crazy wench is from. The previous owner of that seat, Crowley, he'd held it long enough that he was the number 4 guy in the House, and that takes seniority, y'all. He'd been there, what was he, 24 years, I think it was. So Cortez will be there as long as she wants to be. She will be a member of the House as long as she wants to be. She could try to run for the Senate. She could try to run for the presidency. Hopefully somebody will talk her out of that stuff. But she has this bully pulpit for as long as she wants it. And in addition to that, and this is where it becomes really important, it doesn't matter how much attention we pay to her. It doesn't matter. What matters is how much attention the press pays to her. She is a Bernie girl. She's a Bernie girl. She's part of the Justice Democrats who were upset that Hillary Clinton not only won the nomination, but then lost the election. We saw shades of this the night that Hillary Clinton lost the election. Chunk Uger, Chank. I always call him Chunk because I don't know. He's a little fat fuck. It's okay to call him Chunk. Chunk Uger there. He had his little meltdown at the end. Of course, we told you guys, we're not going to stand by you anymore. And him and, was it Kyle and Kyle Kalinske and a couple of other, let's call them what they are, commies, got together and we're like, Bernie should have been president, yo. Let's put together a party that's going to just push. Now, they, well, I forget what their exact rationale was, but it was, we're going to be the you won't take any money from corporations party. Yeah. Instead, what they did is they had acting auditions to have somebody come in and run for Congress, and that's how we got Cortez. But she has all right, back up. I'm not going to say she has the ideas. She's fed the ideas that the press loves to hear, because a whole lot of our press are a bunch of dirty fucking commies. These are people who, you know how you look at, it's like, My God, what are they teaching these kids in school these days? The people who go off and end up working in the press, they were happy to be in those classes. They were happy to be Marxicized. Is that a word? Marxicized? Communized, whatever. They bought into that shit. That's how you get ahead if you want to be in journalism. You either go to work at Fox or you embrace communism because those are your two choices. And they love her because she says what they want to hear. And yeah, there's a lot of good, easy pot shots to take at Cortez because she's a moron. You know, when she says things like, Liz Cheney's the one who explicitly said that it was the Holocaust. No, sweetheart. Those are the kind of things we're going, look, you're a fucking liar. We can see it. But the press doesn't care. The press still pushes her up as, look at how horrible she's treated. They're the ones that are pushing her. And that's the reason she needs to be debunked as often as possible. Not that the media is going to talk much about it. However, I do want to point this out. It was only 4 or 5 months ago now. I'm trying to remember the exact time frame, but Anderson Cooper sat Ocasio-Cortez down and asked her about her funding. But what was she trying to fund at the time? Was it Medicare for all? I can't remember. Some fucking outrageously expensive commie program. And she said that we could fund 2/3 of it with the money, the 21 trillion dollars that the Pentagon has lost. $21 trillion the Pentagon has lost. Now, as of the time of that question, in its entirety, from the time it was first introduced, the Pentagon was only appropriated $18 trillion over its entire life. But in Cortez's mind, they had lost 21 trillion. Now, this comes from a website out there where some asshole just makes that claim with no backing it up. And Cortez found something that agreed with her principle, and she just started saying it. And Anderson Cooper asked her about it, like, you know, when you say stupid shit like this, what do you say to your detractors? And this is where we got I am more interested in being morally correct than factually correct, like those people who, actually deal with money. That's where we got the morally right rather than factually correct crap that this idiot said. So I bring that up because that was months and months ago. And just yesterday, this came across my goddamn Twitter timeline. For those of you listening at home and can't see, it's gonorrhea. Yes, I know that's not her name. I always forget the chick from Guardian of the Galaxy. And go ahead and correct me if you want. I'm not going to pay attention. The little green girl from Guardian of the Galaxy, as a child, talking to Thanos from, this was either from Endgame or Infinity War. I forget which one. But the child gonorrhea says, did you cancel all of the student loans? And Thanos says, yes. And gonorrhea says, what did it cost? Thanos says, 19.4 trillion less than DOD and Pentagon accounting fraud. We see the fucking morally correct bullshit popping right back up. This is why it matters, because this shit doesn't go away. You have to keep beating it down because she has a reach. And the moron, the idiot that posted that, I just pointed out, like, look, it's more of that morally correct, factually wrong accounting. And they replied to me, have fun sucking off the military industrial complex, bucko. Yeah, apparently being able to do math means I'm going to go suck off the military industrial complex. I don't even know what that means. Is there like a line of, are there people with just like the title military industrial complex that I'm supposed to be right now? Because I just thought I was paying attention to reality. But these guys don't. They don't. And this is the kind of shit that'll get repeated because right now we have the fight over we need to have college for everyone and pay off everybody's student loan debt. because nobody should be responsible for anything ever. You know, unless you own a gun and then you're responsible for everybody who's ever been shot ever. Anyhow, uh, so yeah, I want to challenge Razor Fist's idea that she should just be ignored because her being ignored isn't going to make her go away. She's not. This isn't the same as somebody who's running a bullshit 503c under the name of equality. This is a sitting member of Congress who will have that seat for a long, long time and who's very much loved by the press. Um, whose ideas, especially if not challenged. That example we just looked at, that was something a member of the press asked her about how dumb she was with it, and it's being repeated already. It's still being repeated. Still being repeated because morally correct. Morally correct. That's what's important, y'all. Now, I want to bring up another story. This is from Axios. Now, Axios, I'm not a big fan of them. They're actually the one who did the the interview with what's his name, Sandar whatever, who runs Google. They have a show that they do on HBO. These Axios people, but they ran a story today called "Trump Slump Hits Big Media." Now, you'll see in a second why it is related to what we've talked about so far. Top news executives tell Axios that a real Trump slump is hitting digital, cable, and more. Why it matters. The shock factor around President Trump's unplanned announcements, staff departures, taunting tweets, and erratic behavior is wearing off, and media companies are scrambling to find the next big moneymaker. Driving the news. Executives tell Axios that Trump fatigue is very real. Well, maybe you shouldn't just done Trump 24/7 for the last 2.5 fucking years. Anyway, interest in political coverage overall is down, which is spurring investments in other beats like technology and the global economy. Democrats don't appear to be the lifeline media companies are hoping can fill the gap for diminished Donald Trump interest. Executives say they expect this week's debate ratings to be nothing like the ratings for 2016 Trump debates. Be smart. Part of the problem is the 2020 Democrats don't have a knockout media star to drive interest in the election. To date, the Democrats' biggest media attraction has been Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who isn't running for president. Dun, dun, dun. They have a vested interest in keeping pushing this fucking idiot forward because, maybe somebody will get fatigue from her eventually. But you have to remember her coverage is positive as opposed to Donald Trump's. There's something that happens in you take a celebrity like Donald Trump and celebrity and president, by the by. Trump has been president for 2.5 years, and they have been throwing everything at him, even to the point where yesterday on CNN, Allison Camerata actually called the president a rapist. Well, actually, what she said is, he raped you. She used those words. She didn't say, you're saying he raped you. No. She actually said the words, he raped you. When you go out there and day after day after day after day after day after day after day, do nothing but slam somebody, and they still walk away from it. Eventually, people are just like, I'm not listening to you anymore. You got nothing. You got nothing. You're just flinging shit. You're throwing stuff out there, and why would I listen to this anymore? Nothing's going to come of it. Nothing's going to come of it. Why do I care? And so, yeah, they just, people are tuning out about Trump. Now, people tend to like their heroes. So like Cortez, at least within the Democratic base and the well, not necessarily the base, they're actually the Democratic fringe. You don't hear that a lot, but it is true. The Bernie Bros, gave this false impression that a large portion of the Democratic Party was actually socialist morons. They're not. You have a lot of kids who are because, that's what they're being indoctrinated into in college. But your Democrats who own businesses and stuff, business owning Democrats don't want fucking socialism. They don't want that shit. They don't want to have to pay for that any more than anybody else does. They don't want to turn over their reins to the fucking government. Um, so you have this press party who likes them, and so she gets this very positive coverage. But she is a hero to some. So those people she's a hero to. I mean that lasts a lot longer than trying to beat somebody down. No one believes Trump raped a 50-year-old raisin. Trump fucks porn stars and hot chicks. Yeah, I know, right? That woman talking to Anderson Cooper was bizarre. It wasn't a physical rape. That's what she told Allison Camerata yesterday, too. She said it wasn't rape. I wasn't sexually assaulted. It was, what did she say? It was a physical altercation, something like that. It was a fight. It was a fight where his dick ended up in me. Like, what? I don't believe a word that woman says. I don't. From her story she told to whatever rag that was she first told it to watching her with Allison yesterday. I didn't see the Anderson one. I'll have to check that out. I don't believe a word she said. I think she's insane. I think she's actually insane. I bet if they dig, they will find out this bitch is on more meds than Keith Richards. There's just no way. It wasn't rape. It was a fight, and his dick got in me. She saved the clothes. She saved the clothes, and she was asked, "Do you think there's DNA on it?" And she's like, "I don't know." But she said in the original thing that she didn't think he ejaculated. And yeah, there is some stuff that comes out otherwise. But I mean, was there a little bit of a trail? Who knows? But you should be able to take it in. She was wearing the fucking clothes. I hope she at least had them dry cleaned. Huh? That'd be my first thing. Why the fuck would you save these clothes? If you're not going to turn them in, if you're not going to go to the police, what was the point? Hoping that 25 years later he'd become president and you get to wear those on the cover of a magazine? There is nothing about this story that makes any goddamn sense. But man, the press, they're going at it again. You know why? Because what this is talking about. You got the Trump slump going on right now. They're seeing ratings declines because right now people are tuning out Trump because we have the Democratic primary coming up. Trump's not going to be really interesting again unless some major international story breaks until the general election. Sorry, Mr. President, you're just not. That's how it goes. And this story that I mentioned here from Axios, they go on to talk about how Trump's importance to their ratings has dropped since just after um, the 2018 election. Like, yeah, that's how it happens because you have 2 years of the Democrats doing nothing but trying to use Trump to win back the House. That's all politics, and so you have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Activists and partisans, and I'm not saying partisan is a bad way. Democrats who are looking for things to hate about Trump so they can push their candidates. And then they won the House. So that kind of settles down too. It's like, all right, we got this. We got to gear up for the presidential election. And the first thing you got to get through in the presidential election, dun dun dun, is picking your own candidate. And you're not going to do that very well by focusing on Trump. So anyway, we have all that going on, and that was a lot more than I meant to get into with all of that. I actually wanted to get into what the title's about, Google bias. I finally watched Project Veritas, James O'Keefe's video. And in fairness, I did not see like the last 5 minutes of it because it's like a 25-minute video. And I got to be honest, we were asked about it the last couple of nights on Lords of the Night. I wasn't that interested, not because I don't think there's bias at Google. We know there's bias at Google. It is undeniable that there's bias at Google. It's absolutely impossible to look at everything we've seen and go, nah, they're perfectly unbiased. We know they are. I was curious though about James O'Keefe's Project Veritas, exposing Google, blah blah blah. I don't remember what the whole title of the thing is, about it being pulled down from YouTube. Because if it was pulled down from YouTube as conspiracy theory, um, that's an interesting take for Google. That would be a very interesting take for them. See, most of what he talks about in there is already known. He does this undercover shoot with this chick who's telling us about how the algorithm has been tweaked to be, I'm using air quotes here, more fair. And he does things on there like if you go to your Google and you type in, what's it, men can, and let it autofill. Here, I got the exact same search results he did. So let me bring it back up. Let's see. Men can space. There we go. Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato. Damn it, Monkey, I just got here. You forgot to tweet the show. Oh, fuck, you're right. I did. I am so sorry. Oops. My bad. Let me, let me, that'll probably get more people here. Oops. All right. Now, so if you go in and you type men can, and thank you, Evolved Potato, for that donation. Men can have babies. Men can get pregnant. Men can have babies now. Men can have periods, and men can cook. Those are the top 5 autofills for men can. Do you, do you think that's actually what people are out there looking for? I mean, those are the biggest searches for men can. I'm not suggesting there aren't. I'm just saying it's fishy. I'm saying it's fishy. Um, it's a weird fill-in. Men can have babies. What? No, they can't. Trans men can have babies, and if you want to put that, sure. Um, but men can have babies is just absolutely scientifically false. But anyway, he's pointing out that this is the kind of stuff that Google does, and he has a shadowy figure there with a. I hate that voice. Look, I know I use it sometimes in my videos, but there's a reason that I don't generally go for the deep voice when I'm changing a voice. That marbled, I don't know what actually happened to me to make me talk like this. Sound drives me fucking insane. Um, I get why they do it. He's protecting his identity. Apparently, he likes his job. But he supposedly works for Google, and he brought some internal Google documents which show that, yeah, they're purposefully trying to influence the 2020 election, which isn't surprising or conspiratorial at all. There's nothing surprising about that. They told us this after the 2016 election. And they told us about this in several different ways. And it's for the record, not just Google, not just Google. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. But after the 2016 election, you can go look this up. There's a video out there. Look up the Google meeting after 2016 election and watch it. It's like what is it, a 2-4 hour video? I forget. But it is this giant meeting that they had at fucking Google after the 2016 election. We're talking days after, where they have major players in there. We're not talking, Jim from team lead A over in department B. No, 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 no. We're talking major names within Google, vice presidents and such. Don't quote me on the vice president part. I forget what their exact titles are. The big players in Google, and they're up there telling us about how, oh my God, I can't believe we let this happen. We can't let this happen again. Oh my God, I know a lot of you are really depressed and sad, and don't worry, we'll take care of this. Like what? What? I mean, they're basically up there saying, look, we are not going to let Donald Trump get reelected. Now, they don't come right out and say it. They come just really, really close, really close. But then you read between the lines. If you remember all the people being drug up before Congress to testify to their different, what's the word I'm looking for here? Election meddling scams. Them damn dirty Russians. Do you remember hearing how much we heard the damn dirty Russians influence things? Do you remember what that was all about? That they're there was one. It was fucking funny. There was a Facebook ad campaign that was run by them damn dirty Russians. That I think the total it had was less than 100 views, maybe less than 1,000. I can't remember which, but yeah, it was a fucking Facebook ad that got no engagement, but they had to talk about it up in front of Congress to show us just how much meddling there was, and we can't let that happen again. Um, they've taken that and moved it even further to the point where now you have to be careful with political advertising on Facebook. There was a county that wanted to run an ad for, I forget what, but it was deemed political, so they wouldn't allow it on Facebook. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was a uh, some awareness campaign. But I'm sorry, guys, it escapes me. But they're now curating political advertisement because that's what they're going to do. Because they're going to do their damnedest to make sure Trump doesn't happen again. It's not just Google. I'm just surprised that anybody's surprised that Google's doing this because we already knew. We already knew. There's been no question about it. There's been no question that this is what they're doing, that they are purposefully driving things here and there. We saw it with we've seen it with their algorithm changes, and they've told us this in the YouTube uh documents. Is it blogs? I guess is the right word, in their blogs, that they've they've tramped down, what was it, 9 million videos they've locked away in boxes so nobody can see them. They're still on the platform, you guys. They're just locked away. So these are the videos that well, some of them have been taken down, but the other ones are in that limited state that they gave us. That limited state where you can't even share it. There's no likes on the video. The only way to share it is to actually copy the URL from the top bar. There's no share button on it because you can't show this to other people. It'll cause panic. It's just like, what in the actual fuck are you guys doing? Oh, that's right. The election's coming up and you can't allow that again. Can't allow that again. You have to run through and silence conservative voices. And yes, look, for the record, they do throw in the sacrificial liberal now and then. We know that happened. There's a sacrificial one now and then. But I mean, it's absurd to be able to look at this and go, no, they're fair. Because they're not. They're not even close to fair. They don't even try to hide it. They don't even try to hide it. Now, Susan will go up there and when she was on the Recode interview forum panel, I don't know what you would exactly call that. I suppose technically it was an interview, but she was up there. And there was a Recode event, which, by the way, is a subsidiary of Fox. There was this. She was invited up. She was up there on the stage giving an interview to this guy at this Recode Fox event in the wake of Carlos Maza. It was bullshit with Steven Crowder, and where she explained, in case you guys missed it, she was really, really, really sorry to have upset the gays. She was upset. She upset the gays, and that hurt her that she upset the gays. And I only bring that up as a point to laugh at, and you should be laughing at that because she starts off her talk with that. She starts off with that. And then at the end, somebody who works for that Axios that we were just talking about, a man woman who sounds an awful lot like Steven Crowder. I'm still not convinced that's not Steven Crowder, but gets up there and goes, at the beginning of this, you said that you were sorry to the gays, but Are you sorry they were offended? Are you sorry? Are you really sorry? Are you sorry about the gays? You know what you did to you hurt them gays. Are you sorry?" And Susan turns and looks right at him and does her little thing. "I am so sorry that I hurt the gays by not doing anything to them. I'm really sorry." Uh, and she goes on for like a minute and a half about how sorry she is. You didn't do anything to the gays, for fuck's sake. You didn't hurt gay people. Are you out of your fucking mind? Anyway, my point of all of this, I'm sorry, I get so sidetracked, especially when I didn't sound off at all last night, and I had stuff to say. I was tired, so I went to bed. But yeah, I got a lot of pent up energy here. If you listen to what she says, she talks about how much she thinks freedom of speech is important. Freedom of speech is important, y'all. Freedom of speech is, and but as we as we learned the other day, it's nuanced. It's nuanced, you guys. I don't believe Susan used that term, but that's what they're telling us. It's nuanced. We'll get into that in a little bit more too. Um, Susan, it's freedom of speech is important, and she tells us she couldn't kick Crowder off the platform because he said what were his words? He said he had the fig T-shirt. Oh, by the way, the guy interviewing Susan actually, so you can't kick him off for his racist coffee mugs. Racist coffee mugs. He confused supposedly homophobic shirt with racist coffee mug. That's how much this shit just runs together in their head, and they don't actually give a fuck what they're saying. They're just trying to push narratives. They actually confused racism with homophobia. Yeah, those are the same thing. Anyway, so racist coffee mugs. Crowder had a great bit on that where he actually dressed up one of Ben Shapiro's mugs in a Klan outfit when we was making fun of him saying racist coffee mug. Anyway, so Susan goes on to explain, look, we can't silence those conservatives who said lispy queer. That was one of them. What was the other one? Called him a fag, I think. Did he actually ever call him a fag? Obviously, there was lispy queer, there was Mexican, and I know they called him gay, which, by the way, apparently is an insult. Monkey in the real morning, finally. Shut up, Sinatra. Let me know if you want to come on, man. But he called him these few names, and she goes, look, we can't kick him off because of saying those things, because then we'd have to kick off comedians. Crowder's a comedian. And that some of these lyrics are in rap songs. I've never heard a rap song featuring the lyrics lispy queer, but if anybody has that, let me know, because I'd be interested to hear the lispy queer rap song. Is that something I should be laughing at? I can never tell what I'm supposed to laugh at, because apparently I'm in bad taste. There we go. Sorry, I was sending the link over there to my buddy Sinatra. So yeah, that was her reason. Look, we have to let them on because of this. And she never actually stands up for free speech in the idea of free speech. She kind of does, but she couches it with this bullshit. Like, look, we couldn't shut him down because then we'd have to shut down OG Lispy Queer. Oh God. She never just comes out and says, look, it's a good thing to have competing ideas so that people can make up their own mind. That's the reason for free speech, Susan. That's the reason for it. So people can make up their own minds. So you can have intelligent, open debates about this stuff. And people, yes, can make up their own minds. And you know what? Sometimes they're going to make decisions you're not happy with. Sometimes they're going to decide, you know what? He's right, you're wrong. That happens. The fact of the matter is you shouldn't be trying to control thought at all. Oh, God damn you. Sinatra will be here in a few minutes. He's indisposed at the moment. What happened to Dax? Is he no longer available for the show? I don't know. I haven't actually got to talk to Dax since he was on the show last time. So I'm not sure. Free speech equals independent thought. Not necessarily. Ocasio-Cortez has free speech, and if that bitch had an actual thought of her own, her head would pop. Her brain would finally come all the way out of those eyeballs. Motherfucking let's be queer, motherfucker named Carlos, straight out of Compton. That's right, Milkman. I would actually listen to that. I am wondering if there's a let's be queer lyric in any rap songs out there. I mean, because there was your out right there, Susan. I'm fairly certain that's not in a rap song. But she went on to, we have to let comedians do this. More of that nuanced bullshit. Who gets to decide who's a comedian? Because that's something that doesn't get brought up about Crowder enough. Crowder's a mostly intelligent guy. I've heard him say some really stupid shit before, but he's a mostly intelligent guy. But he's a comedian. He's actually been a working comedian before. He goes on his show and he tells jokes while he talks about his politics. But is that a comedian? Not according to people on the left. No, look, according to people on the left, you are only a comedian if you've ever had a Netflix special. Which, by the way, I guess, hey, look, Joe Rogan. I don't think they ever called Joe Rogan one, though. They get a little offended at him sometimes when he has people on that they don't like. I wonder if he's just not comedian that time. But I hate this shit. I hate this idea. You can't, if you're not a comedian, you can't use free speech. That's not what free speech is for. You know what? The founders were actually fucking smart enough to say, hey, unless you're a working comedian, you don't get to say whatever you want. Now, in fairness, they might not have had the term working comedian back then, but they could have said, unless said in jest. I know they had the word jest back then. Fairly certain jest goes back to like Shakespeare and shit, and the word jester. Crowder's gay jokes are just calling some gay. So, you know what? I actually, one of the streams the other morning, we talked about nerds and geeks, and I was using the phrase interchangeably. And somebody was like, there's a difference between nerds and geeks. Okay, maybe there is to you. To me, there's not. To me, nerds and geeks are the same thing. And when I was growing up, if I called somebody a nerd or a geek, it was not necessarily to indicate that they were some computer geek with, tape on their very thick glasses and a pocket protector. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, you're a fucking nerd. The same way I might say, oh God, you're gay. It doesn't necessarily mean when I say, oh dear God, that's gay. I actually oftentimes when I say that, qualify that. And I qualify it as such. That is so gay. Not the good kind of gay where it's two guys butt fucking, but the bad kind of gay where it's just like, oh God, that's so gay. Chucky she says, but it's not a joke. Well, you'd have to give me an example of which kind you're talking about. You're only a comedian if you bash Trump, says Scotsman. You know what? That seems to be a thing these days too. If you don't have an NBC show or a CBS show or what are the other ones now? ABC, Oliver's on what? HBO. Yeah, if you're not one of these guys, then you're not a real comedian. If I called you a nerd monkey, is it a joke? Well, it depends on how you mean it. If you mean I can code and I enjoy video games and things like D&D, no, I am a nerd, but you can still call me a nerd jokingly because of those things. I mean, I call people, just the other night, who was it talking? Polly and, yeah, it was Polly and Jack. They were talking about comic books and just in the middle, I'm like, shut up, nerds. I absolutely meant they were nerds, but I didn't mean it as a bad thing. And it was a joke. See how jokes work? They can have layers. They can have layers like an ogre. I don't mean to brag, but most of the voices in my head think I'm wickedly funny. Some are jerks, though. I'm with you, Milkman. Most of the voices in my head agree with me that I'm funny. And then there's always that one asshole's like, you shouldn't say that. That'll make you the asshole. I'm like, shut up, nerd. Anyway, nerd dork, meh. It bothers me not. Yeah, look, I've mentioned this before. I fit all of those categories. But I'm also a jockey type. I used to play football quite often. I never played organized sports. That's not true. I played t-ball. I played t-ball when I was like 5 or 6. But otherwise, I never played organized sports. It was always pickup sports: basketball, baseball, and football. Because those are the only 3 real sports. Sorry, everybody else. But yeah, I have a very athletic build. I I used to be strong, y'all. But yeah, so a lot of people were often surprised to find out my other interests, like, you like Dungeons and Dragons, but look at you. I'm like, yeah, you can like things and not be typecast, for fuck's sake. Your voice is always welcome in my head. Hashtag no homo. Why no homo, man? I got a sexy voice. A dork is a whale's penis. Yeah, and a bunghole is the thing on a barrel, right? We Hey Polly, how you doing this morning?
I am not in favor of these monkey in the actual mornings.
I just like that you came in right as I said the word bunghole.
I didn't hear bunghole.
I know, because you were.
I have, but
there's that slight gap from when you join and you can actually start hearing. Yeah, your avatar popped up right as I said bunghole. Like, oh,
I've got a feeling you weren't talking about whiskey barrels.
Actually, I was.
Oh shit. Okay, well, you're.
Somebody pointed out that a dork is a whale's penis. I'm like, yeah, well, a bunghole is the hole in a barrel. So
yeah. What are the fucking odds? You were talking about a bunghole and you were.
I was using it correctly.
Yeah. What are the chances, man? Shit.
We're not going the Beavis and Butthead route here. Good morning, Weeb, sweetie. I hope you had a good night, and I hope work passes fast for you. I don't know what you do for work these days.
Is Weebo in chat?
Yeah, she is there for a moment. She's entertaining me while I wait for work to start.
I was just putting the final touches on the second part of our video that I'm going to be posting when it's done rendering.
Cool. I still haven't got a chance to watch the first one.
No.
No, I watched that after this. Because what did you guys? I was watching something yesterday, and then I had to watch the Project Veritas thing today.
Yeah, that's not that long of a video, but it's not that fast moving of a video either.
That one, that's a slog, man. The Project Veritas one, they repeat so much stuff in there. They repeat that one chick like 3 different times in the same fucking wording. It's like, Jesus.
Polly, you are just wrong.
About what?
Good morning, Sinatra.
Good morning. About these not being the good monkey in the mornings.
Fight.
You're not a night owl type, are you?
No, I am. Just not staying up till 5 in the morning. Owl type.
Well,
he's got little kids, man.
It might be a little bit later than 5 in the morning here, but that's beyond the point. I slept for a couple of hours yesterday evening. It's fine.
There is a real battle in my audience of when I should do this show. Some people love it at the 2 a.m. hour, and some people love it, what you guys call real morning here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
You xenophobic time. What's the time or the word for time xenophobia? Is that a thing?
Timophobia? It's got to be a thing somewhere.
You xenotimics?
Tinophobic?
Tinozemics?
Well, you're not wrong. I'm living by a sick timing standard. I really gotta adjust my sleeping schedule.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, it's you're not wrong.
Never wrong.
Well, I'm not going to go that far. Fuck.
I will.
And sorry for those of you out there who do love Kendall, thank you so much for subscribing. For those of you who do love the later hour ones, I prefer these ones.
The chat's telling us it's chronophobia.
Chronophobia, is that a real fucking thing?
That was what I was just about to ask. That's wild. That's a real thing. Okay.
That can't be real. Y'all made that shit up.
Let's
I like asking the chat. They give us an answer. I'm like, bullshit. Yeah.
Is that? I'm surprised that they didn't try and slip something in. Remember when they were talking about respect for being on time and punctuality?
Chronophobia is a fear of time. It's characterized by an irrational yet persistent fear of time.
That's not exactly what I'm talking about.
Remember when they were describing it as being racist?
Yes.
It's only in the white man's world that they expect people to be on time. It's not,
That's right. It is wrong to expect anybody but honkies to be there when you tell them to.
So when being chronically late for things as I am, I'm culturally appropriating or identifying with the struggle.
You're culturally appropriating.
It depends on where your politics lie, Polly.
Right. Yeah. People will only apologize for you if your other politics are correct.
Yeah. Indeed.
Chronophobia is also known as stir crazy.
No shit.
Stir crazy is an experience of anxiety about being trapped in a future. In a future of boredom.
Oh, see, I've always used heard and used stir crazy as kind of a synonym for cabin fever.
Yeah, exactly. Stuck in one place, climbing the walls.
I'm going
stir crazy.
It's both.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay. Now,
hey, speaking of words that nobody knows anymore.
Oh dear God.
I said old people often use the word credenza, and I don't know what it means. Monkey, what does that mean?
Real quick, Lamented Guide, thank you. Now I can actually watch you in the morning. Thank you so much for the donation, and I'm glad you get to see. What was the word?
Credenza.
Credenza. I hear it in old films, and I hear old people say it. Is it a couch? I think it might be a couch.
No, it's a desk, like a cupboard.
I'm not old enough for that shit. I say couch.
There is an old word for couch, and I don't remember.
Couch.
A duvet, maybe? Was that
duvet? I don't know.
No, a duvet's a comforter.
Fuck.
They're asking cadenza?
Oh, it might be. Yeah, I might be saying it all wrong. It might be cadenza. That's possible. Sure.
I thought you were trying to say crescendo, and I'm like, that's not a word. Oh, Davenport duvet, yeah. Chesterfield, I've heard that before.
A Chesterfield.
Chesterfield. Oh, couch is also called a sofa. Yep.
Shut up, Mike.
If you're one of those rich, highfalutin folks.
Davenport, you hick.
Yeah.
Is that a brand name of couches or something?
I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah, functional. I thought it was credenza. That's what I was hearing in the films, but I might have been, missing it.
I'm gonna start calling the couch the Chesterfield. The dog ate the cushion on the Chesterfield.
Is it me or does Chesterfield sound more like the name of a toilet? That just feels like more of a toilet.
The dog Chesterfield on the sofa.
Wow, I don't know who that's addressed to, Chadwick, but that's quite the honor. You're probably the only one in this chat that I would ever call a cunt.
Probably because I keep shitting on him in the Opinionated Scotsman streams.
Before we get too far away from it, I enjoyed this band. So we can come back to weird words later if we want. What do you guys think of the bias at Google? Did you guys watch O'Keefe's video?
I am so surprised. You cannot even begin to imagine my surprise.
I feel like you're being sarcastic.
Oh, never.
A little facetious there, to use a big word that I learned a long time ago for no fucking reason.
6-letter word, facetious.
Yes. Polly, are you surprised by bias at Google?
Am I surprised by what?
Bias at Google.
I was shocked.
Yeah, that seems to be everybody's take.
I'm shocked that gambling was going on. Shocked that Google was. Shocked that AOC is a moron who needs her words fed to her. I just day after day, I live in surprise.
I want to find that Tim Pool. Oh, here it is. Tim Pool tweeted this out, and it's actually a really good tweet, especially from Tim. It says, so Gizmodo broke the news Facebook suppressed conservative news. Jack Dorsey said conservatives at Twitter are scared to speak up. Google employees candidly talks about influencing U.S. elections to prevent Trump situation. Media is still acting like it's a conspiracy theory. He makes a good point there. These are not things that are like unknown. Real quick over on the Streamlabs. Thank you so much, Evolved Potato. Monkey, keep with the 2 a.m. It starts right when I get home from work. We'll see. We'll see.
Ask me how I feel about the Google thing again.
Give me 1 second. Cryptic, thank you. I've got this awful disease where I can't stop telling airport jokes. The doctor says it's terminal. Cryptic, I fucking love your jokes. Yeah, so Sinatra, are you surprised to hear there's bias at Google?
Well, I guess you could say
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
I literally went and downloaded that just for this moment. I hope I can use it again in the future for something.
Kingslayer Damocles, thank you. I recently learned what a papazan is.
An Italian delicacy?
That's not what that is.
Sounds like one. Come on, admit it.
I think it's a chair.
Sounds like a new specialty pizza at Pizza Hut. Just throwing that out there. No, but Jack Dorsey actually did when he was on with Rogan and Tim Pool that one time. Conservatives are probably afraid to speak up. Why would that be a thing in your company? Italian horsecock. You stop it, functional. Don't you dare.
I'm not.
Okay.
Hey, Scribe, how's it going?
Scribbles, how's it going, man? Scribbles there, or are you just fucking with me?
No, he's there. I saw it.
He's goat thrappling in the chat.
Why don't I see him?
He just went off the scroll.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Well, I have my chat long, so I can still. Genetics, Polly. My chat's longer than yours.
It's not the size of the chat; it's how you use it.
That's right. It's the motion in the ocean. The only reason I see Google pulling down O'Keefe's video is claiming that it's conspiracy theory, and I haven't seen his actual thing. For all I know, it wasn't taken down. He threw that up there as a way to get more attention to it. Because usually when people get stuff taken down, they share the message they got from Google.
James O'Keefe did share it.
Did he? I didn't see his actual.
Okay. I have it open because I was gonna make a video on it, but now I don't think I'm going to. It says, "Dear Project Veritas, this is to notify you that we received a privacy complaint from an individual regarding your content," and it has the video.
Privacy complaint?
Yeah, same as the other one. Weird how that works, isn't it?
There's no fucking privacy complaint in that. Oh wow!
Really?
Wow, okay.
Really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah, privacy is usually personal information. There's no unless Google's trying to say that those are actual documents, because he showed some supposedly internal documents. But again, it's usually only if there's identifying information on it. Home address.
It's the same thing that happened to the Pinterest video.
Right.
I think Tim Pool got his taken down too.
These assholes.
Does Veritas have a BitChute account?
Yes, that's where I saw the video. He's got the video up there.
I saw it when, who was it? Cynical Lindsay tweeted it out. Somebody tweeted it out and said, you should check this out. And I was like, okay, I will. And so I watched it right away. I saw it off the YouTube account of theirs.
I can't help but wonder if it's the girl with the nose in the video, because she's the only one who has her face really shown.
Well, the guy in the video, he's only in it briefly. The engineer, the Indian-looking guy, very early on, he's on there too. Both of them apparently. Let's see. She's deleted her Twitter account, and I don't remember her name. In this video from Project Veritas, he has the secret recording of the girl from Google. I forget her name, and a software engineer from Google, and then he has the person that's shrouded. Let me see. I'll have to find how the fuck did I find that before? I know Tim Pool had tweeted it out about them taking their.
I guess another part to think about it is if it's in a two-party consent state where you have to get both parties before recording.
Perhaps. And it's probably California, so I believe that is two-party consent.
That's what Scribe suggested there in chat. Or it's a case of the secret recordings constituting a privacy violation. Yeah, because it's not a single-party state.
Isn't it weird how?
But no, okay, I see what you're saying there. But if this was fucking Dateline NBC, they'd have no problem with that shit.
Fuck yeah.
No, you're exactly correct.
Yeah.
Where do you think the Donald Trump tape came from?
Mm-hmm.
That would be considered, intrepid journalism if it came from NBC or CBS, and it was on the right person, not Google, mind you.
Yeah, this hidden camera investigation. Remember those hidden camera investigation? No, those aren't things. Now, look, I will say this: James O'Keefe has done some questionable reporting in the past. But to me, it didn't. I didn't even need to see his fucking video for this. I really didn't. I don't doubt anything that's said on that because I've been following what's happening with Google and YouTube. None of this was surprising to me. I'm still trying to find that chick's name for you, dude.
Now's the time to let me beat the same drum again. Stop using Chrome. There's lots of other browsers out there. If you really like Chrome's interface, Brave is a lot better of an option, and it's very Chrome friendly. Like, it looks like it and everything. Stop using Google for your search engine. Use DuckDuckGo. Pick something else. Use Start Page if you absolutely have to use Google.
Her name is Jen Janai.
Use Start Page then.
Her name's Jen Janai. She's head of responsible innovation at Google.
That's a subsidiary of the Ministry of Truth.
Right. Responsible innovation. And if you watch
what
this...
was that name again?
Jen Janai. Jen Janai. You're an asshole sometimes, but I love you. She goes on to explain. She says that when they decided to do their changes to the algorithm, these were just common sense changes that common sense fairness changes to highlight oppressed people, give oppressed people a voice. And they were really shocked that everybody didn't just agree with them.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
I got 2 uses out of it. Perfect.
I'm so happy to give you a second use for that one. Oh, God. Responsible innovation. Eat me.
Yeah. They were just trying to help out low information voters to make the right decision in 2020.
Did you? I'm sorry to just grab the wheel and slam it to the right here.
Do your thing.
But did you see that chick on CNN last night with Anderson Cooper?
Oh,
that
Jean
fucking
Carroll?
nut job. Yeah.
No. Nuts mentioned her earlier. I got to see part of her interview yesterday with Allison Camerata, but I did not see her on Anderson.
I'm gonna send you the video I saw, and I want you to watch it real quick.
The rape claimant?
Yes.
Yeah, this chick is an absolute nutter.
Yeah, her name is Jean Carroll. That is the letter E, Jean, Jean, Carroll with 2 L's.
All right, it's in your DM. It's only like 37 seconds long.
Oh, I see. Right. Don't put it in side chat so I can watch or anything. DM it secretly. I see.
You know what? I will put it in the main chat. How about that?
There right there.
All right. You talk while I do this.
This chick is absolutely I think this is certifiable insanity at this moment. Because I'm not going to say what she said on there because Monkey's watching it. But it really makes me think that they're just pulling out every possible thing they think they can get away with to try to get Trump got. Like every unthinkable thing they can think of. They're like, yes, he is guilty of that.
But bringing on low credibility people that were going to criticize Trump, like, certain arrested lawyers, it's a great idea. It's totally worked out for them. Why not continue?
Right.
Sinatra, I saw her make that same claim on Allison yesterday. And Allison Camerata yesterday flat out said, he raped you. She said that about our president. Not he allegedly raped you. This sounds like rape. She said he raped you. Which is an interesting thing for a reporter to say. But this is the same claim she made. And Polly, did you just watch this? Here's what she says. She doesn't consider it rape. She doesn't consider it rape. This is what she says happened, y'all. Her account of this is that he asked her to try on some sexy lingerie. She told him that no, that he should try it on. and they went to the dressing room together. Apparently, she was going to force him to try it on in the dressing room. He pinned her against the wall with his shoulder, was able to pull down her tights while they're standing up, and she says she's fighting the whole time, gets his penis out, sticks it inside of her, and that's not rape in her eyes.
But
You
she
gotta,
also said that he didn't ravage her sexually.
You know what I think would undo news entertainers?
You would think
you could
this kind of shit.
Well, no, what would undo them is if you could somehow secretly get the feed from the producer's booth going through to the person on camera.
I am convinced at this
because
point,
it's like, holy shit, this person's talking positively about Trump. Like, holy shit, this lady's turned out to be fucking crazy. Go to commercial. Anderson, go to commercial now. Like, did you see how fast he went to commercial after she said rape was sexy?
Yeah.
Oh, well, and I would agree with you, Polly, but the Allison Camerata one, that's like halfway through.
Really?
I don't know if she said rape is sexy in that part, but her saying this wasn't rape and she doesn't feel that this was sexual in any way. Yeah, that's all in there, and it's like halfway through the interview.
I didn't see it. How did Allison with a Y respond to that?
That's where she.
Why?
That's where she goes. He raped you. Yeah, it's a weird interview, man. This chick is nuts. This bitch is crazy.
Yeah, she's got them medicated floating eyes. Like, you know what I mean? It's.
Yes, Shelley. She said rape is sexy. She said, what is it? The fantasies? Isn't that what she did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she said the fantasy of rape is sexy.
She said, I think most people think rape is sexy. Think of the fantasies.
Yeah, that's what most people think of when they think of rape. It's not the accused. It's some fucking. We talked about this when we read the actual account of this. This stupid shit sounds like she got it from some fucking romance novel. And then he pushed me against the wall and made me take it. And then I fell in love with him. Like,
yeah,
it just
I bet you
like
she has. Is she trying to sell a book? She's got.
Yes,
it, right?
yes. This comes from her book that she's selling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
imagine
wish I
that.
could just accuse Trump of rape and sell a book.
You probably could, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it was 30 years ago, 5 years before I was even born.
Well, they were giving Trump shit yesterday, and he deserves it for this. But like he said, she's not his type or some shit. Mm-hmm. His original thing was, I've never met her. They don't pay attention to that. No. He makes a joke afterwards about how she's not my type. She's ugly or something he said. I forget his exact wording, but basically, yeah, I wouldn't fuck her because she's ugly. But yeah, that's what our news entertainers focus on instead of I never met her. Thank you. Sir Wolfgang, thank you so much. Nuttier than squirrel shit. She is, man. If you watch these interviews, holy fuck. I can't believe that after recording these interviews, they put them to air.
Yeah, that's pretty brave.
But it's the length and the desperation. I mean, think of the sheer amount of times that they had Michael Avenatti on when he just didn't have that much to say.
Oh,
and
so
then
all of them?
And then invite him, like Don Lemon invites him over to his house for a CNN party, and then has him on his show the very next day and talks like, so, man that I've never met before, tell me, how is Donald Trump destroying our democracy? You know,
Maniac Manny says, I don't know her and she's not my type are not contradictory. No, they're not. But I don't know her is a much stronger defense. I've never met her is a much stronger defense than she's not my type. Because you could rape somebody who's not your type. You can't rape somebody you've never met. Mm-hmm. Of those two, one of them is far more exonerary. Is that a word? Exonerates you far more. I don't know what the exonerating. Thank you. You know me and my words, man.
Her information was exculpatory.
Exculpatory. That's the word I was actually looking for.
Was it?
Yes. Look, it's my brain. Don't question it.
No. You said that with a hell of a lot of convictions.
No, yes. It absolutely was. That was the word I was looking for. Love you, monkey. It's too early for politics and rape antics. I'm still having my coffee with cream and sugar because I'm not racist and mix all my colors like a paint palette. Very nice indeed. You know, politics is a morning thing, man. That's why they have like Fox and Friends and Good Morning America and what other. Everybody has a morning politics show these days.
I still can't believe they haven't renamed Fox and Friends. My God.
You know what I've been seeing a lot of lately?
What's that?
People saying that Tucker Carlson single-handedly influenced Trump into not going to war with Iran.
Really?
Yeah, I think it might have been an MSNBC article. Of course, they weren't happy about it, but the one that really caught my eye was Jimmy Dore talking about it.
Real quick, Anthony asked, did you cover the released body cam video of Smollett incident? No, I don't even know about that. If you want to toss me a link somewhere, I'll check it out, though.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. The body cam footage of the cop is good. It's like, so did you want to take that noose off? And he's like, yeah, actually, I do.
Nice.
He's such a phony.
Because the cop, like, he understood the time frame involved, like how long it's been, and that's why. Did you want to take it off? And he's like, yep, yes, I do actually, and then sets it down. It's a real short clip, but yeah.
Now, as for what you were talking about, Sinatra, I have heard that Trump is very easily influenced on things like this, on pretty much everything, actually. There is the rumor out there that he will go with whatever he heard last. I don't know if that's true or not. But
well, if that is true, then that's really good.
Oh, it is. Did you happen to watch John Ward's video on why Trump didn't bomb the shit out of Iran?
No, I haven't.
It's a really good one, and it actually, I try not to give Trump too much credit for 4D chess, but all through this, he quotes The Art of War. And as I was watching all this unfold, if you've read The Art of War, it's hard to look at any geopolitical movements like this without thinking of it. And he puts in, I mean, again, it's a video. It's meant to give you the ideas that this is what happened. I don't know if Trump's that smart. He may have accidentally done it, but there are definitely reasons to threaten Iran rather than blow them the fuck up, because we can blow them the fuck up whenever we want to. We hear so much about how big their military is. And like, yes, it is compared to the rest of the world, not compared to us. We would roll over them. It wouldn't even be a fight. We'd just set them on fire from the air and it'd be done. They'd be crippled. But watch John Ward's video, guys, if you haven't seen it yet. It's a very good video on this. Very good video on why he might not have decided to go to war. The real victim in all this is Subway. They're now associated with pedos and hoax hate. They've actually gotten away from Jared pretty quickly. They recovered from that pretty quick. Is Jared still getting beat up in prison?
Probably.
Last I heard, he was still getting beat up in prison. So, Trump is just using his business tactics and politics. That might be true too. You don't always have to destroy your enemies. A lot of times you can just let them do it themselves.
Give them enough rope to hang themselves, I think is the old phrase. Just
sit back and watch. I mean, Iran is a poor country. You guys might not understand that. They're very much like Korea in the fact they spend a lot. The money that they do get on military weapons, which is not a good way to make sure your population is fed. Oh yeah, put a 5. I don't even know what that means. Trump has smart people behind him. I actually feel bad for Trump as a president because he does have some smart people behind him, but he also has John Bolton standing there.
Yeah, John Bolton, he really needs to excise that problem. I think, who was it? Ben Shapiro had a real caved-in head take on the fact that we didn't go to war.
Yeah, Ben was very, very warmongering on this. Even Paul Joseph Watson told people to unsubscribe from him. It's like, damn. Ben,
I don't think he has a America's best interest in mind when he says things like that.
I think Ben is too young to be talking about a lot of this stuff.
Well, he's also a self-proclaimed Zionist, so his best interests probably lie with Israel. So of course he wants to go with Iran.
I can see that take, and I mean, that might be part of it with him. There's a lot of people who don't have Israel in mind who are doing the same thing. So I don't necessarily want to ascribe that to him. It's possible. But he might also just be one of those warmongers who are like, they did something, we should kill them all. That's not always the answer. A lot of times the answer is try that again. Try it one more, do that one more time. If I was Trump, I would be doing nothing but flying our drones 24/7 through that same spot. Try it again.
Kingslayer Damocles said Ben has admitted to being a war hawk. Well, yeah, there you
go. Now that's not to say he doesn't necessarily have. Look, Iran is probably the biggest threat to Israel over there right now, simply because we're fairly certain they have some kind of nuclear capability, and they're pretty vocal about fuck Israel. So, I mean, you don't have that as much in anywhere else in the Middle East right now. So, well, I never listen to anything Ben says concerning foreign policy. All hot takes. I think Ben is young, man. I think that's a big problem with him. And I realize he's not. He's no spring chicken. How old is Ben? He's got to be in his 30s, right?
I think he's barely 30.
Okay, yeah. Give Ben another 10 years to actually see how the world works.
I still think if push came to shove, he would want America to go to war with Iran for Israel because it's just the kind of person he is.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think we should. And it's not because Israel. It's because we shouldn't be going into any wars.
The only way, and this is all because of actual alliances, if Israel was directly attacked, then I would have no problem with us stepping in for them. But Israel wasn't attacked here. But we do have a military alliance with Israel. So it would be the same as if Britain was attacked, France was attacked, anywhere we have a military alliance. That's not just because Israel's there. Like, you don't bomb Iran because they could bomb Israel. That's not how you do things. And we know there's Zionists out there who kind of want that kind of shit to happen. And that's all right. No, we don't have to do that. I think Ben is smart on a lot of stuff. I think Ben, when it comes, if you've ever watched him at like college debates, he does really good when he goes into his what are these, speaking tours, I guess is what they are. And he gets up there and he debates one of these college kids about, something like abortion or something like that, or racism. He does a very good job with that stuff. That's a little bit easier to understand than the geopolitics of what happens after war, man. Sir Wolfgang, are you guys saying you don't want Iraq War 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Again, Iran they pushed it. If we bombed them over this, if we took out one of their military airports, I wouldn't have had a huge problem with it. I prefer the tack that we took. Like I said, I'm one of those people like, do it again. If they do it again, we should fucking spank that ass. But they blew up a drone, and there were a lot of people like, who was it? Bill Kristol. Because Donald Trump came out and said that he asked how many people would die, and he was told 150, and that's why he backed off. And Bill Kristol, he's like, not to be confused with Billy Crystal. This is Bill Kristol, the commentator in Genuine Neocon Douche. He doesn't even know how to be president. Like, oh man.
Yeah, he's not like that good guy Obama who just drone struck everybody for no reason.
Right. You're talking about killing 150 people over $100 million drone that we have a ton of. And look, I'm not saying that it was okay for them to do that, but you give them that warning. Try it again, motherfucker. Try it again and see what happens. And I do believe that Trump is the kind of guy like, look, I'm sorry about those 150 people, but they did it again. We know he's not afraid to bomb shit. I mean, he bombed Syria, what, 6 months in?
Yeah, he
He bombed the fuck out of them, man. That was, oh man, I love watching our cruise missiles fire off.
And
I
he upset a
realize that.
lot of conservatives with that too,
Yeah,
because a
Because
lot of
we were-
them are like, we don't need to go to war again. We haven't even finished Afghanistan, and we didn't even get. My favorite take on Twitter out of all this was some guy ranting and raving about how Trump said he doesn't need congressional approval to go into Iran. And this guy was like, this is anti-American. This is wrong. Impeach the motherfucker. It's like,
oh god, yes.
you realize that Obama like took down Syria without congressional approval.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same day that they were posting pictures of the people in like the microwave blankets at the detention centers. Like those are all from 2015. You've just cropped out the picture.
Well, did you see that was going on again yesterday?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, was that the one you were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, they did that before too with the when this first came up, the stuff at the border. It was Obama pictures. I understand what they're getting at because I know Ted Lieu. It's one of the few times I've ever agreed with him. He's like, Congress has the right to declare war, which is true. But the president does have some leeway in like ordering direct strikes. We that's just been the way it's been forever, and Obama used the shit out of that. Fuck,
Well,
Bill
he
Clinton.
used it to just send troops over into Syria.
Bill Clinton used it to blow up an aspirin factory because Monica Lewinsky was in the headlines. Tall person, thank you. Monkey, I'm glad I can catch one of these live, especially because this is one of the 2 days I have off this week. Happy Color TV Day. On this day in 1951, the first color TV broadcast was made. Oh, cool. I always hated black and white. I really did, man. That's one of the reasons I hate the movie Wizard of Oz, because so much of it's in black and white, and it's like, I hate black and white. I don't know why. I just never liked black and white TV. And I'm old enough that, yes, we had black and white TVs in my house.
What do you mean had?
Shut up. Yeah, we don't have any more of those, man. That's back when TVs weighed more than people. You hate Wizard
up
of Oz.
until relatively recently, I had one of those projection TVs. I think I got rid of it like 3 years ago.
You hate Wizard of Oz? No Monkey, no. Yeah, I hate that movie. The only redeeming quality of that movie is all the midgets.
Didn't
The
one of them
singing
hang
is awful.
themselves?
Maybe. Paul, you still with us?
Yep. What
Okay.
did you mean? What did you mean that parts of it are in black and white? I only saw Wizard of Oz for the first time like year and a half, 2 years ago, and it was all in color. What did you mean?
The beginning of Wizard of Oz when she's on the farm,
Oh,
and then the end when she gets back home. Yeah, that's black and white.
well, but that's okay.
I don't like it. I understand that it was what it represents and everything, but no, I don't like it. I hate it, and there you go.
I just like, I don't know. I took a weird thing out of what you said, like the way that, like, you know, Dark Knight Rises, like parts of it were filmed in IMAX and parts weren't, and that really sucked, by the way. And I was like, wait a minute, I saw the whole thing was in color, except for the beginning and the end. Yeah, you're right.
Now, I will tell you this. This is a contradictory opinion I have. I think Casablanca is one of the best movies ever made, and I've only ever seen that in black and white.
Yeah, I have the colorized version on one of my external hard drives, and it's, God, man, it's wrong. It's just wrong.
It looks weird.
It does. It was intended to be in black and white, so the sets are made that way, the costumes are that way, and when you colorize it, everything just no.
Their faces look like bad claymation. Stop it.
Yeah, I don't like recolorized movies. They don't look good.
Yeah, but that's why I hated, and maybe it's the fact that I didn't see Casablanca until I was much, much older, and we used to have to watch Wizard of Oz once a year when it came on TV, because that's what you did when you only had 3 channels. And yeah, so I was forced to sit through that shit. Oh yeah. Plus, at the time, I didn't like musicals at all. I've grown to love musicals, but
I really liked
I
it. That's when I was on that big kick to see all the classics I had never seen, except for the part with the Munchkins. It was so creepy. Like their voices and stuff. Oh man, stuff and nightmares. Other than that, I loved it. That was great.
Nah, it's a bad movie. Just saying. And that's science, man.
Dude,
Oh,
this E. Jean Carroll is really on a roll. The Guardian just wrote a piece. He denies,
God.
he threatens, he attacks. Lie.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
E. Jean Carroll on Trump.
They need to stop doing this. Is bordering on journalistic malpractice. This woman is obviously insane. Thank you so much, RVA Dar. Real morning is best morning. Hashtag Polydad. Thank you so much. Well, define real morning. It's real morning when I do it at 2 a.m. for some people.
No.
Yeah, that started as a convenient time is all. I would actually prefer to do it at this time of the morning. Observing those flying monkeys taught me how to fly.
Huh?
Milkman. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, one of the best musicals ever. You know, when I was a kid, I'd heard that title. I've never seen the movie, but I don't know why. I always imagined that these seven brides were all sisters, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't know why. Just a weird thing about my kid brain. I live in Arizona. When you do it at 2 a.m., it's 11 p.m. here. But it's morning somewhere. Yeah, they're on West Coast time. I'm East Coast time, so 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
I'm just barely on the edge of East Coast time. You're on East Coast time too, right? It's not true.
Yeah. I'm in Ohio time.
Yeah, it's odd though, because I've actually lived on the East Coast, and sometimes I'll see the sun and I look at the time like, there's no way that sun should still be up that bright. My dad saw that 7 times when it was at the cinema. I'm guessing Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Anyhow, I saw something cool today, and I just want to share this with the class because this is really fucking awesome. It's nice to sometimes share good things. Indiana construction worker Jason Haney hid a giant Where's Waldo cutout all over his work site for the children in a nearby hospital to find. Once he received word that they'd found him, he moved Waldo to a new location so they could start looking for him again.
Good for him.
How fucking cool is that? That's a good man right there. I don't know what he is in the rest of his life, but what he did right there, that's really fucking awesome. That's we need more of that kind of shit in life, man.
Stacy Gardner says, what are the odds that Trump sues all the mainstream media outlets for defamation? 0.
He can't. He can't. And this is one of the things he's talked about many times where people are like, he's just trying to suppress the press. If you're a public figure, they can get away with saying a whole lot of shit about you.
Yeah, he's like the most public figure. He's got like the longest odds against him for even, passing the laugh test of a suit.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of like the laws the way they are because you have to be. We can't have a society where, calling out the president is a bad thing. On the other hand, this one is obviously bullshit. I'm sorry. This one is obviously bullshit. And this is where the journalists should be going, maybe not this time, guys. Maybe not this time. That's where they should be doing their due diligence, and instead they're taking advantage of the system. There's no way. 1, she's not lying, and 2, she's not fucking crazy. She's absolutely fucking crazy. Yes, Ebony, Little Butt loves Paw Patrol. So does Pumpkin, man. Pumpkin loves her Paw Patrol. She's a real big fan of Marshall.
Hey, Monkey, remember about a month ago when I was talking about an article in the New Yorker where a certain author named Bret Easton Ellis was interviewed and lambasted, and the entire thing was Trump, Trump, Trump. That's all he was talking. That's all the interviewer was talking about, just grilling him on Trump. This was,
yeah. That was
again
his book, right?
Yes, his newest book that didn't go the direction that a lot of people thought that it would, because he's gay and a longtime liberal and so forth. And this is his first nonfiction book. And they expected in the era of Trump that he was going to agree with a lot of things. And he's written a lot of really well-known books, Lesson Zero, American Psycho. Almost every one of his books has been made into a movie. Holy shit, this guy's going to... So I finally bought White, is the name of the book. And they thought he was going to be owning his white privilege in it. I understand now why that article in the New Yorker went the way that it did. And he got lambasted on Twitter the way that he did. Like, good, fuck him. Because so very little of this book has anything to do with Trump at all. He's barely mentioned. Like, towards the end is when he starts talking about Trump. It's what he's talking about everywhere else that made him so angry. If you will, I have a short paragraph I think you'll like.
Please.
If you're a smart white person who happens to be so traumatized by something that you refer to yourself in conversation as a survivor victim, you should probably contact the National Center for Victims and ask them for help. If you're a Caucasian adult who can't read Shakespeare or Melville or Toni Morrison because it might trigger something harmful such as texts, could damage your hope to define yourself through your victimization, then you need to see a doctor, get some immersion therapy, and take some medication. If you feel you're experiencing microaggressions when somebody asks you where you are from, or can you help me with my math, or God bless you after you sneeze, or maybe even some drunken guy tries to grope you at a Christmas party, or some douche purposely brushes against you at the valet stand in order to cop a feel, or someone merely insulted you, even on Twitter, or the candidate you voted for wasn't elected, or someone correctly identifies you by your gender, and you consider this a massive social diss, and it's triggering you, and you need a safe space, then you need to seek some professional help. If you're afflicted by these traumas that occurred years ago, that it's still a part of you years later, then you are probably sick and in need of actual treatment because you're sick. But victimizing oneself is like a drug, isn't it? It feels so delicious. You get so much attention from people, and the more people you get attention from, the better it feels. It does, in fact, define you after a while, making you feel alive and even important, and showing off your supposed wounds, no matter how minor, so people can lick them. Don't they taste so good? The widespread epidemic of self-victimization, defining yourself in essence by this, is a very bad thing. The trauma that happened to you in the past that you've let define you is actually an illness. You're defining yourself by an illness. It's something one needs to resolve in order to participate in our society, because otherwise, you're not only harming oneself, but also seriously annoying family, friends, neighbors, and strangers who haven't victimized themselves.
Brambles, have a good day. Chicago Mike, thanks for the commute to work in the morning. I don't get this when you do Monkey in the overnight. You can still watch it. You can watch the replay.
Yeah, but they can't donate during the replay.
That is true. That is true. Thank you so much for the donation. This was from his book?
Yes.
Yeah, I see why they were upset.
Like, it's on this tenor, like harsh criticism. I'm going to call it as I see it. I saw the the late 80s as the cocaine fest, the obsession, the adoption of gay culture into men's culture, where everyone was about fine suits. And I was a harsh fucking critic about it. And a lot of it came out in the form of American Psycho, the dandy, the New York elite, so on. And he's not doing anything different now. It's just the people that would want to come after him happen to be in charge of the newsroom and the media places now, and don't think his criticism is cool now.
I gotta say, the last sentence of that was really perfect.
Yeah,
you
need to resolve your illness. Like, it's like,
well, he's not wrong in what he said. How many times have we pointed out? I mean, that this is the oppression Olympics, the everybody needing to be the special snowflake. And there was that one woman when #MeToo came up. I don't know if you guys remember her. She wrote, I felt bad when I sat down and started thinking of #MeToo because I didn't have a story to tell. And then I realized I did. And her story was about, some guy looked at her wrong or something.
Right.
Like, why do you feel bad that you weren't raped?
I wish just for 1 second that the people who supposedly stand up for these ideals would hear something like that and go, this needs to be called out because this is horseshit. Like, why would you wish that something bad happened to you?
Real quick, Shelly says replays are garbage. Streams are only good with chat. Well, this is also a podcast where there is no chat, so you can listen to it that way. Link is below. I just wish people would listen to this and go, he's right, because he is.
It brings that New Yorker article in such a bizarre, pathetic light, because he does talk about Trump towards the end, but he never talks about Trump. He talks about the reaction to Trump. It's not about the guy. It's about all of the people and Trump derangement syndrome, basically. And the amount of times that he uses social justice warrior. Now, keep in mind, this is a gay man in his early 50s who's like been like an elite literary cultural icon for decades. People love him. He hangs out with movie stars all the time. And you're talking like this, using words that alt-right white nationalists would use. Well, no, of course not. But everyone's an alt-right white nationalist in the frenzy to be offended and pissed off and etc.
Well,
you know,
we live in a society where there's no.
We live in a society, damn it.
There is no emphasis put on accomplishment. Your accomplishments these days are whatever your ism is. That's what if you were abused, that's what your is. That's what makes me special is I was abused. Like, I think you're doing this wrong.
yeah.
And that's what makes people special these days. That's how you get attention these days. You run to CNN and tell them you don't think you were raped when somebody forcibly put their penis in you because you think rape is sexy. Huh? Yeah.
Dude, I saw a thing yesterday that was, I gotta try and find it real quick. Oh yeah. You know that picture where it's the guy talking and he looks like some big YouTuber, but I don't know who he is. And the quote is, don't ask questions, just consume product, then get excited for next product. You've seen that quote floating around.
I've seen the quote. I'm not sure. I don't remember the picture.
And someone posted that and said, if someone posts this, what they really mean is, I hate if there's women or minority in my movies.
What?
How did they get there? I need a map. Can you read the first part again?
Which one? The quote?
The quote.
Don't ask questions, just consume product, then get excited for more products.
And the response was,
I hate if there's women and minorities in my movies.
uh-huh.
Here, I'll post the link to the tweet in the chat.
Thank you, Andrew. Hi, Monkey. People like to weaponize their victimhood. Not just weaponize it, monetize it. Go ahead, Polly. I'm sorry.
Would wear it as a t-shirt if they could.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. We
do.
won't go back, feminists and so forth. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah, you're right.
Hashtag believe women. Oh, I do remember seeing. Yeah, that's the guy from Red Letter Media. Yeah, I remember seeing that the other day. That's why that's familiar to me. Hi, Monkey. Oh, that's the one I just read. When did this sudden need for representation come from? It's only kicked up really in the last couple of years. I mean, we've been hearing that there's not enough black people in movies for more than a decade at least. But with Oscars So White, that's where we really started the representation push. Hashtag Oscars So White. Good morning, Jack. How are you, sir? He's not awake yet. Hashtag me also. Was that a thing?
Hashtag me? Jesus.
No, hashtag me also.
Oh, me also.
Me also have problems.
Me also love you long time. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
There he is. How you doing today, man?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Jack.
Yeah.
Jack, what oppression do you have?
Other than laziness, I don't know.
That doesn't count.
No.
You're a white male, right?
Yes. So
You
I'm
like
told.
women.
Yeah.
Why do I assume that every male feminist who posts about Me Too also is like, can I please have a crumb of pussy?
Look, every time I see a guy, a male feminist post about hashtag Me Too, I'm like, oh, he knows from personal experience of raping women.
Ravdar, RVA-DAR for $2 just because you're on Monkey Show. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, please support the gentleman on the panel on the dais. Links are all around. Make sure you support them if you can financially, or follow their channels if you can. They all make great content.
That's true.
They do. It's awesome. Plus, they're funny as fuck, man. If you guys haven't, I know we talk about it all the time, but if you've not watched Comic Book Curation with Jack, Polly, and Inquisitor, you are missing out. It's a lot of fun. It's like this, but with Inquisitor instead of me. And Polly's in charge.
And a lot more comics.
And a lot more comics. And
right.
I'm not even going to tell you there's less F-bombs because Quiz is there.
Yeah, no kidding.
He might be worse than me with the F-bombs. Just got a notification from Yahoo talking about the Smollett video. Huh. Smollett's fucked, man. They brought in that independent counsel. He is fucked. He's going to jail.
You think so?
No,
Yeah.
not a chance.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
The only reason he didn't get in trouble before is because the prosecutor stepped in and went, we'll just drop all these charges. And
no,
that
the special prosecutor, quote, recused herself, unquote.
No, that was the actual prosecutor in the case.
Oh, yeah.
That was Kim, whatever her name was.
Fox.
Kim Fox, yes.
Why do you think they called it going down the foxhole?
You think he took one for the team? No.
We know he didn't do that because he's,
yeah.
That guy
turned
from
out the
Empire.
lights and went anal.
Ew.
What?
It wasn't Michelle Obama.
Yeah, it's true.
If I don't think they call in the special prosecutor to do nothing.
Dude,
I think there was enough.
just don't see him being held accountable for this.
He might end up with like a suspended sentence, but he'll get at least a wrist slap this time.
They didn't call in the special prosecutor to look like they were doing something, not to do nothing, and that's what's going to happen. It's going to look like everything's fine.
No, they called in the special prosecutor because of Orange Man Bad.
Well, special investigator, no?
Well, no, it's going to look. They're either going to do nothing because it's Chicago,
right?
Or they're going to investigate and find the prosecutor guilty of malfeasance, and that dude is still going to walk with, at worst, some kind of probation or community service. He's not going to jail. He's a gay black man.
I don't know if he'll go to jail, but
jail is a fucking vacation for him.
Jesus. He'll get more than he got out of the Chicago district attorney. I hope he doesn't get to go to jail. Jesse dropped the soap again. Oops, dropped it again. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just can't seem to hold on to this darn slippery soap.
Oh, wow. My mind just went somewhere bad. The Chicago police are pissed at him. I think Smollett will get time. I hope. You guys got to remember this wasn't public backlash that did this. This was the police backlash that did this. They were like, "What the fuck just happened?" I think Kimmy there would have been far smarter to give him a slap on the hand, at least give the fucker probation. Not you can go. You can go.
Now, this was all political favors. She knows his family and Obama's, and his family is friends with the Obamas. So there was some backdoor shenanigans going on, just like the tarmac meeting between Clinton and Loretta Lynch.
Yeah, you said backdoor meeting.
Oh, yeah, that puns are awesome.
Puns rock. A retired judge took them to court over it. Yeah, and it was the legal establishment in Chicago was like, what the fuck just happened here?
Yeah, they got to cover for their own corruption. They got
Yeah.
they have standards, honor among thieves, and all that.
Oh yeah, I forgot to hit the like button again. See, it's about being reminded, Monkey.
God damn it! Hit that like button.
Well, Stargazer reminded me, so I wouldn't.
I know she's a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
She reminds people to hit the like button, and she pimps us out because she's awesome.
Yep.
Oh man, what do you guys got going on today?
I got a video that's going to come out as soon as the stream is done, and I'm going to finish recording a rather long creepypasta.
What's your video on?
It's going to be on the celebrities who are very upset about Trump.
Oh, is it did you talk about them reading the case
Yeah,
yesterday?
and now this video that they did, that's just a gold mine.
Polly's your other video coming out today?
Yep. I just
Sweet.
have to render it. I haven't gotten around to doing that, but it's finished. It's finished. It's going to be posted today.
Look, guys, Polly's video today is the kind of video you want to go watch because you want to give your opinion. He is naming the 10 hottest chicks from the MCU.
I expect precisely no one to agree with me, but that's fine. That's fine.
So go in there and give him shit and tell him who should have been number one. I want to see at least 20 Brie Larson should have been number one in the comments.
Brie
I want to
Larson.
see at least 2 Evangeline Lilies.
Well, obviously
even know
you
who
did
that
watch
is.
part 1 where I said that Evangeline Lilly didn't make the list.
I know. That's why I'm upset.
Man, that's
Look.
all the comments was people upset. Well, not
If
really.
you-
There was a few people who agreed, but not many.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I made a video counting down with Weibo Jones where I made a list of the top 10 hottest women from the MCU films. It ended up being a little long, the conversation we recorded about it. So I broke into 2 videos. The first one I already posted on my channel. These are the women that didn't make the list. And then the video I'm posting today is the actual top 10 list.
If you don't pay attention to any of the other women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Brie Larson is the hottest.
She didn't even make the you didn't make the list.
I'm
She's
just saying,
fuck her. Forget about it. It's just
if you don't look at any of the other women, she's the hottest. Jack, what you got going on today, man?
I'm gonna work on finishing remodeling the bathroom, which is gonna be awful. And then I have to go to the dump, and then I'm probably gonna work on some videos. I did last night post my first patron exclusive video.
Oh, nice. Make sure you go over there and sign up for Patreon, guys. I think I'm going to do that Razor Fist video today
Oh yeah,
because I want to address what he said there.
in his AOC video.
Yeah. Look, I agree with everything he says about her being a moron, but the idea, and I mentioned this earlier before you got on, Polly, that the idea that you just ignore her and she'll go away, the way that Anita is basically going away, doesn't work with AOC because she's not running a nonprofit. She's not just some YouTube personality. This is a woman who, if she wants it, has a job for life now in our public sector. And I think that
assuming the Justice Democrats continue to support her, as soon as they're done with her, she's done.
I suppose they could primary her ass, but she's a cult of personality thing going on there now, man. She'll be there as long as she wants to be.
No, I'm talking about the Justice Democrats, people who like paid for her campaign and pushed it along and give her talking points and so forth. This is who runs when she goes to run her next campaign. I hear you. It's a cult of personality. Yes, but it's a giant team that's supporting her. When that support's gone, that's why it was so. That's how Bernie got so fucked in the 2016 election, because all of the money was going to Hillary. Like, it didn't matter about grassroots, groundswell, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When you control the apparatus and so on, if they decide not to go along with her, the Justice Democrats group, that's it for her, unless she can find a new backer. And as bad as she's talked about the DNC and as many enemies as she's made amongst Democrats, yeah, good luck with that, getting their support.
No, she's not going away. She might not have that position anymore, but she's one of those people that is incompetent, so she floats to the top. We've all known somebody like that. Like, how do you keep getting jobs?
Mm-hmm.
You're an idiot. We all know somebody like that. And she's one of those people. No matter what you do, she's going to have some kind of prestigious position going forward because people like her and she's a useful idiot.
Oh, she'll get on boards of directors and advisory committees and so on and so forth. I'm not saying she won't have a job, but Monkey's whole point is that she has a position of power in the government for life if she wants it. And my point is it's not exclusively her choice. She literally, as we all know, auditioned to the Justice Democrats to be the front face of their campaign.
But she doesn't need them anymore.
Because she's going to pay for her campaign and run and set up all of the events, and come up with her own talking points. They're doing all that for her.
There's plenty of people that will volunteer to help her out.
Yep, and she's got the name in the face, man.
And she'll get the backing because there's lots of rich people that are like, we can manipulate this bitch.
You ever worked on a political campaign, Monkey? Volunteered anything? The idea of man, I'm telling you.
And I'm telling you, she doesn't even have to actually run the campaign. She can just go on CNN. Well, sorry, MSNBC. I'm running again. Boop. All she has to do is I don't know what
her district in New York, and everybody watches CNN only. Come on. Politics is local. All politics is local, is the saying. You got to get out to the town hall meetings, which she doesn't set up and doesn't know how to set up. Jesus Christ! Did you see
making it sound like
together her IKEA furniture? I mean, Jesus.
I did, but again, as Jack said, there will be people who are willing to do that for her.
Who?
Because
That's
of who she is.
If it's not the Justice Democrats, then another organized group who already has a network of volunteers and funding to do all of it.
Democratic Party's not going to drop her.
But I already made the argument. She didn't make a lot of friends. I think they're going to be very happy to drop her. Bernie had a lot of fucking voters going for him, and they knew that they weren't going to flip over to Hillary suddenly. The Bernie bros were going to disappear. They were still willing to do it. Why? That's party politics. I mean, enemies she's made inside the DNC? Not amongst liberals in the DNC.
Her district hates her. It's not what I've seen.
No, that is true. I saw a Tim Pool video where he went over the polling in her district, where 35% of people who said they voted for her will vote against her actively in the next term.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out real quick. John Woodruff, thank you so much for the donation. I'm sorry, Pi, what'd you say?
I was just going to say, I don't know anything about that. That's interesting. It was an assumption, a complete guess that she was doing just fine in her own district. I didn't realize she wasn't well liked there according to those polls, but I hadn't heard anything about them. Wow.
Yeah, they feel like she does more on Twitter for likes and for the district.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
I'm with Nancy Pelosi. That district, a glass of water could run as long as it ran as the Democrat, and it would win. It doesn't matter how much they hate her. I mean, They voted out Crowley just to put in another Democrat. It's not going to change hands, and who's going to run against AOC?
Well, and she can always get some other position in the government that's equally of power, some kind of speaker position or something like that as a stepping stone to another job, an appointed job. Watch that bitch end up being like Secretary of State.
I absolutely believe what you're saying, Jack, and that's what I'm saying. Like to advisory boards to appointed positions, I can absolutely see it. But like this endless, I will never leave Congress. No, she ain't no Kennedy.
Oh no, I don't give a fuck about Congress because that's just one aspect of power that she could get. And I guarantee you that she'll get funding from somebody like George Soros or somebody like that. Media Matters, Organizing for America, one of those power brokers behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with your point. I disagree with Monkeys that she has that position if she wants for the rest of her life. And that's...
Well, I mean, this is the Democrats. They can always just rig an election. There's lots of dead people that need to vote.
Assuming that they're going to pull out their stops and use their resources for her. Do you think they are? They certainly didn't fund her the first time around. That was
it's between her and a Republican. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
I like your optimism. Don't get me wrong. But I don't have that kind of faith.
All right. I mean, it's not really faith. It's actually like cold political calculus.
Sounds like religion to me.
Well,
she won't be around forever.
AOC and Ilhan have already been causing trouble. So it wouldn't surprise me if the House Democrats actively worked against them.
As long as she already did, as long as she backed off her, we're going to primary other people. I think they'll happily take the seat. I mean, she gives them a lot of attention. And the story we read earlier today, I mean, one of the things that the media is bitching about is that she can't run for president. They don't have a star like her to run.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see.
I think a lot of the controversy is ginned up too, because I don't think the Democrats hate her as much as they pretend. They just know she says a lot of dumb shit, but she's still young. There's a lot of malleability there. There's a lot of space in her head to fill with different things, different talking points. They could mold her into something that they could weaponize, like the plague.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to see the Tim Pool video because everything I can find nationally, there's Democrats who aren't as fond of her, but in her district, everything I find, she's still favorable. So
Well, Ilhan is still catching shit for marrying her brother. I'm glad that that's finally getting some real media attention.
No kidding.
Yeah, I saw. I don't remember what the name of the guy was, but he was livid because the paper there in Minnesota finally started paying attention to this, and he's like, "This is all the work we've done. You've ignored it forever, and now suddenly it's an issue." But even in the article that he was talking about, they were still like, "We're not actually saying this is true. We don't really think it is." Ilhan, come clean, sweetie.
Come clean.
Yeah, you married your brother for immigration, and their excuse for that is, well, siblings can get in too, not as easily as a spouse. And have you guys looked at the timing and all of that? She got together with her current husband, and then she broke up with him for a while to get together with this other guy.
Yeah. Hey, she had an Islamic divorce. She was not married to two people at the same time.
She's not Amy Jackson's wife.
She gets together with this guy for a few years, and then they divorce Islamically, and she gets back with the guy that she'd been with all along.
Yeah.
Milkman says, "Who married her brother?" It is rumored that Ilhan Omar married her brother to help him get citizenship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the record, don't search in brother fucker without say search on. You will get some pretty fucked up stuff.
And remember, guys, don't think of your mom when you're touching yourself. Don't think of your mom when you're masturbating. Think of your mom while you're masturbating is wrong. I sent you the video.
Sister either.
You don't need to say it in 3 different ways, man. One is just fine.
Repetition, Polly. Repetition.
Married siblings.
So it wasn't for the sex, just a perk, I guess. Look, yeah, we don't know if they actually consummated the marriage.
They're related. It's probably only butt stuff.
The timing of her third child is
was that the anchor baby?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I'm not suggesting that they had an incestuous child a la Game of Thrones. I'm just saying it's Allah. Oh God. Allah.
That's racist, monkey.
Glory be his name.
This is gross, dude.
Puns are great, right, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think of any family members when you're touching yourself. Hey, no, look, Ebony. If you have a hot aunt who married into the family, it's okay. She's not related to you.
Or
maybe a stepmom.
Blood-related cousin.
A distant blood-related cousin.
Yeah. But
yeah, because I mean,
like one from Kentucky, or
if it's your stepmom, like in Bill and Ted, I mean, that's all right.
Yeah,
she's not your real mom. Oh God, how did we get here?
Talked about politics.
Ilhan. You know what? That how fucked up is it that we're talking about politics and end up on incest, and it wasn't a leap. It was literally one step over. That's where we are right now.
Well, it's the latest nepotism.
Doesn't a spouse count as family? Well, they're your family, but they're not your immediate family. They're not blood relatives. That's who you're not supposed to bang.
Unless you're
You can-
Ilhan, then it is both.
Yeah, I mean, then it's both. Okay, tall person sent me the video from Tim Pool. I'll check that out later. Can't watch things during the show. Incest in the morning. That one felt like my dad. Oh my God. Oh, Milkman. Okay, so Milkman is like Shio. I have to read it before I say it out loud. I have to keep that in mind.
I think Stargazer might be onto something. Y'all need Jesus.
No, that says y'all need Jesus. She knows my lawn needs cut.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh,
I still think a Mexican lawn service name, y'all need Jesus, would be the best ever.
yeah.
Y'all need Jesus.
Call us just one time.
We are one phone call away.
Oh man, I wish I was Mexican. I would make that. That would sell awesome. That'd be the best lawn service in town. Let's see.
Well, I got to go to Home Depot later, so if you need me to pick you anyone up, just say so.
Just give them the idea, man. They'll start their own business and achieve the American dream.
Is it wrong that if you're in the pickup truck and you drive up by them real slowly and then stop, and once they start running toward you, you take off real fast? Does that mean?
No.
Okay.
No, it helps them exercise, man. That's good for their
cardio,
their heart. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Some of the pictures over here, guys. If you want to send us pictures to MITAM, Greg Rogers, what is wrong with you?
Good thing I'm not checking the hashtag right now.
There's lots of far. Okay, you're not using the hashtag right. Bad people. But Far sent in the story, Nazi knitters, fuck off.
Okay.
From Jezebel.
Naturally.
Some things are sacred. Ravelry, is that how you say that? The online knitting community that provides space for members to share patterns for everything under the sun is one of them. On Sunday, the website said it would no longer tolerate users trying to distract others from the singular joy of knitting with their implicit support of white supremacism.
Naturally. I mean, right?
this is the same problem they had with the quilters for QAnon. Sometimes it just gets out of hand.
Well, this goes on. Quote, we are banning support of Donald Trump and his administration on Ravelry, the statement begins.
I love how statements start like that. We are banning your opinion on this thing that has nothing to do with this.
Yes. Is there a lot of Trump tweeting over there? I don't knit, so I'm not sure.
I can't imagine there's a lot of tweeting over there.
Ravelry's tone was firm but kind, assuring people who might get booted off the site for their support of the Trump administration that they would receive copies of their data.
Uh-huh.
The statement went on, quote, we cannot provide a space that is inclusive of all and also support for open white supremacy. What? And also allows support for white supremacy. Support for the Trump administration is undeniably support for white supremacy.
Fuck off.
Lamented Guide, thank you so much. Hail Nittler.
I know when I go to crochet club, they're always trying to knit concentration camp stuff.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's all crochet, so it's very white supremacist.
It's for those concentration camps at the border.
Yeah, exactly. Where they torture the brown people by letting them play soccer out in the yard. Because, soccer's a poor people game. That's just insulting.
Oh, dear God. You
They
can
should
still
be playing cricket. Damn it!
you can still participate if you do in fact support the administration. You just can't talk about it here.
Yeah, we don't
I
do
love
wrong
this. I
thing.
love this article so much.
We are not endorsing the Democrats nor banning Republicans. We are definitely not banning conservative politics. Hate groups and intolerance are different from other types of political positions. I don't think you understand what you were doing. Because holy shit.
Do you think they'd ban somebody for talking about the Black Panthers?
Probably not, no.
Yep.
That's how you get a wrench over there. They're banning support for Trump.
I'm trying to find this article. Can you post it in the chat?
Yeah, dude. You might want this one for Friday if you haven't used it yet.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Jesus. Fuck.
Okay. Chris Graham said something in chat. It's a knitting site. Why not just stay on topic? They can't do that. Orange man bad. What aren't you getting? They have to oppose the tyranny of Trump.
And those Nazi knitters.
Yeah. I could just see them. They're probably coming up in full SS regalia. Oh, today
little
we are
SS
going to get to the
stars knitted out of fucking red and black quilt.
Yeah.
I've pulled up their actual statement here, and there's some other things that weren't in that article. Do not try to weaponize this policy by entrapping people who do support Trump administration into voicing their support.
Entrap them on a knitting site.
On a knitting site, yes.
I
not.
need to grab a coffee.
Sure. We're not banning people for past support. Well, that's nice. There's a grandfather clause, apparently. ERAU Snow, thank you so much. My wife found out how this all started, if interested. If you have a link or something, toss it in there. You can help by flagging any of the following items if they constitute support for Trump or his administration. Projects. Unacceptable projects will be provided to the member or made invisible to others. Patterns. Unacceptable patterns will be returned to drafts. Forum posts. Right now, only posts written after Sunday, June 23rd at 8 a.m. Eastern. And profiles. Please do not flag profiles yet if only banned content is the avatar or avatars. There's not yet a flagging system for those.
How much bet these avatars are talking about like the American flag or eagles or something like that.
God, what the fuck is wrong with them? Dear, it's a knitting site for fuck's sake.
Yeah, these people are crazy.
Basically, what they're saying is if you make a pattern that says like "Make America Great Again," they're going to kick you off the site.
Yeah, probably.
Oh God, I bet they'll allow Bernie 2020 because communism is awesome. Can we talk about that? The rise of communism and socialism in our country.
Not legally. That's been verboten.
That's hate speech.
I completely understand why white nationalism is frowned upon. I understand why Nazism is frowned upon. I do not understand why socialism and communism are not frowned upon. I don't get it.
Some leftist thing right now.
Because leftists run the academic system, and that's where you're getting a lot of these kids that are brainwashed and censorious, and they are getting old enough to be in positions of power. I mean, look at what we're seeing out of Silicon Valley.
Teen Vogue, our wonderful group who teaches children to butt fuck. They just ran a story on Marx.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Who is Karl Marx? Meet the anti-capitalist scholar. The communist scholar's ideas are more prevalent than you might realize. They've actually changed that subtitle because it used to be more relevant than you might realize or something like that. You may come across communist memes on social media. The man, the meme, the legend behind this trend is Karl Marx, who developed the theory of communism, which advocates for workers' control over their labor instead of their bosses. There's a whitewashing of history.
Right.
Communism was around before Marx, by the way. The famed German co-authored the Communist Manifesto with fellow scholar Friedrich Engels in 1848, a piece of writing that makes the case for the political theory of socialism. This is in a teen girls magazine. What has happened? You know, I was trying not to embrace the clown world meme because I'm like,
What?
okay, you know, go ahead. Thank you. But is it wrong?
No.
This is a teen girls magazine celebrating Karl Marx.
You got to remember that none of these people have ever lived in a communist country. They're not old enough. And the last time communism was really big, there was a lot of people in America fighting against it, including filmmakers, writers, that sort of thing. And there were people that were still young that had lived under communism that had escaped. They don't have that anymore. So it's all idealized. It's all this perfect dream stuff, the utopian vision that young people love to embrace. So they have no concept of breadlines or anything like that. They don't remember any of that stuff. It's just hypotheticals. So if they say, well, oh, you know, Venezuela just did it wrong, it's because they don't know their history. And they're not being taught it because they have a bunch of commies running their educational facilities.
Thank you, Cryptic, who says, notice that the most totalitarian ideas always come from Germany. Yeah. Well, remember, communism is about giving you control. And by you, they mean the people who actually get to run it, because you, the farmer, you get to starve like everyone else. Meanwhile, Maduro gets to fly in special chefs to have actual food instead of dog in the street. I just don't get this. I really don't. I get why the racism is bad. I get why Nazism is bad. I get those things. Those make sense. Yes, those are bad. Communism is good. Huh? What? How can you miss the history of the fucking world? And I get it. They do things like, well, Stalin wasn't really bad. Those 20 million people, they died because there was this freak famine. This freak famine. That's what really caused. You know what I love when they talk about that? That's what caused most of the deaths. Okay, let's say that's true. What caused the others? Oh, that's right. Speaking against the state.
That serves a hate fact.
Oh, fuck, man.
Now they just unperson you. They don't need to do anything else.
I just don't get it, man. I don't get how this is acceptable.
Monkey.
I don't get how it's
They
acceptable.
died of exposure to the cold. The fact they were shipped north to the gulags has nothing to do with it. It was natural deaths.
Those weren't gulags. Those were facilities where you could learn a new trade and skill.
No, didn't
you could re-educate yourself
politically, almost like a political re-education center.
Those were not concentration camps, Polly.
No, they were. This is the thing. This is what it makes me laugh, is we have Socialist Cortez pushing the concentration camp things, which she read from an article in Esquire, which specifically names the gulags in Russia as concentration camps.
You know, someone on my Twitter brought up a really good point about this. They nonstop compare Trump to Hitler. Every possible chance, Trump is Hitler. Now that they're saying he's running actual concentration camps, they're trying to go, no, we don't mean Nazis. Well, you've called him Hitler for 3-4 years. Now you want us to just believe that you're not making a reference to the Nazis for once?
Well, hold that thought. Cryptic, thank you. Jack, I experienced communism firsthand. I escaped because I was starving and they wanted to kill my dad. Yay for socialism and communism. Bunch of fuck nuggets. Cryptic, man, he gets heated on this stuff because he lived through it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to
fucking
go through it again.
Yeah. You fucking little white girls. Anyway, about that, Sinatra, we talked about Cortez's tweet yesterday where she said, just a reminder, Liz Cheney's the one who compared the detention centers to the Holocaust. Like, no, bitch, that was you. You're the one. And Sinatra, I saw you responded, that I guess she said never again by accident or something like that.
Yeah,
we know like, what that.
So she just used never again, like randomly for no reason.
Yeah, we know what that cunt was saying. We know what you were saying. Come on, we're not as dumb as you.
You know, it would earn a lot more respect if the people who normally call out horse shit would actually call out Cortez instead of just carrying water for her, like Lozar posted. I remember it was him and someone else. They were going back and forth about how conservatives are just disingenuous and don't mean anything they say. Then he goes to say, no, she wasn't talking about the Nazis. It's like, oh, okay. She just used never again randomly.
Yeah. Well, see, Losar, he's just a contrarian, specifically looking for anything a conservative might say that he can go, oh, gotcha. Oh.
Yeah, but they're willing to rewrite history, even very recent history that is easily disproven, to suit their own ends. That's why you can't trust communists ever.
Yeah. And they're still doing it, and they're still I just don't understand why it's still being pushed. Jay Mizzle, thank you. The Holocaust legitimately didn't happen, though. Yes, it did. Polly, you've been quiet on the communism thing. What are your thoughts on that?
On communism?
On why it's still a thing specifically.
Well, that's just it. It never went away. It's the amount of attention that something's getting. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that, unless you've looked at the statistics, or somebody mentioned them or whatever the fuck, you'd think that there were more killings than ever with guns. They're actually on a 25-year low right now, still trending downwards, with more guns on sale than ever, more guns being bought than ever. You would think that there was, it was a fucking bloodbath in the streets, and it is concentrated in, like, but you can name this outside of Chicago. 1970s, late 1970s, early 1980s, it was brutal. Multiple cities had death rates to the level of Chicago. My point being, it's just the amount of attention being spent on a thing. Communism never really went away. I mean, if you think about Weather Underground and you think about Black Panthers that Jack mentioned earlier, they were explicitly Marxist. They wanted to be revolutionary communist cadre, and were armed, bombing the Pentagon, bombing the Capitol building, the Weather Underground I'm referring to when I say that, multiple times. I mean, Asada Shakur was part of a revolutionary communist cadre. That's the reason she's still on the run from the law down in Cuba. So but they've always been around. They haven't gone away. You know what I mean? Well, the love of socialism. I mean, there's always commie fucks around, man. It's got a great sales pitch.
Oh shit!
Take control of your labor. The imperialist pigs who try and own you and work you to death. It's a very seductive line of bullshit.
And I get what you're saying, that it never really went away. But I mean, I've mentioned this many times. If you said you were a socialist just 8 years ago, you couldn't run for office. They'd been like, no.
But we talked about this before. Bernie managed to do it in Vermont because it's a section area of the country where he was capable of doing so.
And now if you get on a debate stage and say you're not a socialist, you get booed.
Right.
I mean, but the amount it's like, what? So where's the acceptability that you're concerned with in terms of politics? Like you were saying, it's kind of everywhere. Like, I mean, there's commie fucks all over campus. Is that what you think? You think it's growing?
I don't know about on campuses because I can't say there. I'm talking about it. You're seeing it in our national politics at this time. You can take Bernie. Okay, Vermont. What do they have? one House representative and their 2 senators because they're such a small ass state up in the middle of the Northeast where you have a lot of liberals anyway. So having one little liberal enclave like that, okay, I can see. But we're talking about at this point running for the president. And Bernie, did he have an actual chance in 2016? No, but he did make a huge splash. And because of that, you have so many people coming out that support. I'm a democratic socialist. You're a communist. That's what you are.
I hear you. The Overton window opened up to allow more possibilities for it following 8 years of Obama administration socialist-leaning policies. It thus spread the Overton window to allow more candidates like that to get in. Add into the mix of that the news entertainers who have always been leftist fucks who felt encouraged to be able to talk like that and hire more like-minded people. And that's why you're hearing more about it, because they're the ones who generally control the narratives, or at least give the talking points of narratives that people will have. Like even when we morons like us sit here and talk on online about them, we're still using their talking points. We're saying they were wrong for saying A, B, and C, but they defined what A, B, and C are in their socialist talking points. I mean, that's why you're hearing more about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm against it. I think I take like a very strong position, and some people say that it's like you're radically against communism, and I say no. I see communism as the most heinous personification of evil ever known, literally, because nothing was ever known on that scale that caused that amount of death every single place it went.
That's what bothers me. We can look at what Hitler did and go, this was horrific, but we don't look at what Stalin did and say it. Look, I'm not saying me or you, anybody on the dais. I mean, as a country, as a society, people are like, yeah, it wasn't so bad. I mean, it wasn't his fault. If you look at what's happening in Venezuela, it's not really their fault. Cuba, not really their fault. It's never their fucking fault. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, you can keep going with the consistencies though, right? Cuba, communist China, Cambodia, the list goes on, and all of the Central American countries in the late 70s and early 80s, Chile under Pinochet, on and on and on, every fucking where this ideology goes. And I'm not saying it entrances people and turns them to evil. It's a system that centralizes authority and power and turns it a country into a dictatorship where everyone just calls each other comrade.
Right.
Dude, my Twitter right now is just popping off because I quote tweeted. Ilhan Omar said, "My hips don't lie. Shakira law now in full effect." So I quote tweeted it.
Oh God!
This is how you win over your brother.
Oh God! Fuck!
Oh. I look forward to hehearing about your 7-day suspension.
Somebody replied, "Lol, it's funny because you're repeating a conspiracy theory that's 3 years old and has no real evidence behind it. Almost like you want to smear a Muslim woman just because you don't like her." So
I got that the other day when I made my joke about that shit.
I quote tweeted and said, "Truth hurts, buddy. Not everything you don't like is a conspiracy theory." And he replied, "I don't like politicians at all, and I think you might be a little confused on what truth means. You got a nice thing going on, kid. In your 20s, stacking Patreon dollars, living rent-free, pretending you have experience and knowledge to educate others." What a fucking self-righteous douchebag.
Real quick, 2 things. Thank you, ERAUs or ERAS now. HBO Chernobyl needs played on networks. I still haven't had a chance to see that. I still need to watch it. Jack, are you here?
Jack's muted right now.
I'm
I
here.
see that. There you go.
I mean,
Jack, you're in charge for a moment.
Oh boy. So, communism gives Satan boners.
Nice.
And now that's really what's going on is, every time there's an extermination train, like we saw over in the USSR for years, trains full of people just leaving and never coming back. Obviously, that's a metaphor for Satan boners. And he spooges every time there's a mass execution. Why are you people supporting Satan?
I mean, okay. Some people don't like it being talked about, and I've run into that again and again, where it's like, come on, probably the most heinous personification of evil. And yes, on that scale, yep, there's nothing else that can compare to it. People are like, well, you make it big and emotional. Fine, let's take it down to the individual level. It's anti-human. It goes against basic human nature. It is human nature to want to work and own the fruits of your own labor. The idea of personal property, the idea of protecting one's homestead and earning things for oneself. This is not about greed. It's about wanting to enjoy the fruits of your own labor, not having them given over to the state en masse and just be trusted. This is serfdom under another name.
Oh, absolutely. And what gets me is everybody seems to think these days that there is out there a mysterious equality for all. No, not everybody is the same. You should be treated the same under the law, but you shouldn't have the same outcome. Some people are just better at some things than others. There will always be poverty. There always has been. You're never going to get rid of inequality. Even under communism, it never happened. It just made it more of a dynamic stratus where there was an elite ruling class of nobles and then everybody else was a peasant. That's all there was to it. Your entire livelihood was subject to the whims of a handful of people. And I don't know how that's so hard to grasp. This utopian vision of the future is a massive lie. It's never going to happen. Accept it. Sorry, Polly. Go ahead.
No, you didn't cut me off.
Oh, sorry. I thought
I wasn't in the middle of anything. I mean, there's some people in chat that I think have a general disagreement with what I'm saying. Like, Pinochet was more of a fascist than he was a communist. That's why he wore a cape. Pinochet was a murderous scumbag. How about that? And just like Chile is a bad example of a lot of things. I mean,
fascists are still socialists, and they're slightly different from communists. That's it. There's not that much difference between them on the spectrum.
Well, they do have this in common that's relevant to the current discussion we're having, that is about the state as all. And I realize that the utopian ideal inside of communism, like that, the communist society is the utopian end state of where socialism is supposed to end, the classless society where borders are irrelevant, that the means of production are owned by the people en masse. And it's like, okay, I don't believe that will ever come, and I don't believe the people that run so-called communist governments have any intention of bringing it about. I think that they don't believe in that fantasy anymore.
Even if they do, those people get killed right away, and they're replaced by people like Stalin. Trotsky was a true believer, and then he got ice-picked, and then Stalin took over. There's no keeping people that are greedy for power away from it in a situation like that. They will find a way to rise up in the ranks to attain the power level, and then you have that dictatorial control. No matter what the initial ruling people believe, that the first ones that get in power that lead the revolution are always the ones that get killed first. Then they start gunning down the intellectuals and whatever other political group they don't like.
Real quick, over on Streamlabs, Cryptic, thank you so much. Pure communism was tried in Cambodia. 3 million died. Vietnam had to overthrow them. I'm sorry. I understand everything that's been said so far. I don't understand how nobody else is seeing this and how this is a good thing and how this kind of shit isn't like, why would you support that? This is what happens every fucking time.
Because they're not taught the negatives. It's all utopian vision.
I would agree with that.
This fucking guy is telling me he knows where I live.
How do
I respond to that and be like, I am armed to the teeth. Come find out.
Just be like, I know where I live too.
Yeah.
Sarah,
what a coincidence.
Sarah makes an excellent point. Like, well-intentioned, straight to hell.
Yes.
She said most of the new socialists don't realize they're giving that power to government, that amount of power, and it will never end well. Yeah, that's very well said. It's just you don't realize that giving that amount of power to the government, the intention is very good. We'll give that amount of power to the government, who will then disperse it equally, and we won't have billionaires as well. At the same time, we have people that are dying in the street broke. The government will make it all right. It's like that level of trust is just, I don't know. You get this. I mean, that's why the great debate, amongst the founding fathers, and you only ever hear the one quote, right? If men were angels, we wouldn't need government. And it's, what was the response? And if men were demons, no government would be sufficient to control them. There is a balance. Men are not animals that need, people are not animals that need to be controlled under a whip. But communist governments the world over, throughout from going in from 19th to 20th now into the 21st century. That is how they treat them. We're going to organize you on work farms because this is for the good of quote, the people, the state. It always ends up running the same way. You don't own the fruits of your own labor. They're shown when you have like a nationalized farms. 10% of the farm was allowed in different areas of Soviet Russia for them to work that and be able to keep the gains from that 10%. And that 10% of the property ended up producing more than the remaining 90% of the soil did. Why? Because they worked it the hardest because they got to keep the fruits of that 10%.
Yeah.
But that should scream volumes to people in terms of how much they want to work for themselves. And when everyone's working for themselves and government stays the hell out of their way, things end up being a lot more effective. And government only steps in to assure contracts, whether it be social contracts or legal contracts.
But we live in an age of utopian visions. I mean, look at the anarcho-communists. Oh, if we give people enough free time, they'll build roads on their own. Same with the anarcho-capitalists. Oh, we'll create all this massive art. Yeah, but nothing is going to actually get done. Slab City is the perfect example of how they think it should be, but in practicality. And what always ends up happening is everybody ends up equally dirt poor. They're totally relying on the government, and the government treats you as property. You're worse than a serf. You're a slave. And they're going to take you out back and shoot you if you do anything they don't like. You also can't commit certain crimes, like there's no stealing, because everything you own belongs to the state. They don't understand that. They all think they're going to be on top of the pile when it comes out, and only their enemies will be punished.
Oh, dude, yeah, I agree completely. I remember I laughed my ass off when Sarko was doing a video, I don't know, it was like a month or two ago, and he was talking about socialism or whatever. And he said, none of these people who advance socialism ever think they're going to be the ones working on a collective farm. They always envision themselves as the one in the Politburo.
No, it's not even that. Remember, the idea, especially now, robots are going to do everything.
That's true.
And you're going to be able to,
it'll save us all. Yeah.
You're going to be able to paint all day long on corn husks.
Yeah, I still remember that conversation with Bronx Blogger. That was, and who's going to make your pigments and your paints and your canvases and your brushes? And like you were describing consumer products, and he was either willfully ignoring the good point you were making, like the consumer products still need to exist in this perfect society. Who's making those? Robots. What do you mean? It's just available. Like
it's funny arguing with them because that's how it goes. I'm sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
No, there's just two sectors of these communist supporters. There's the naive people that believe in the actual utopian vision, and then there's the stupid people that don't want to do any work. I suppose there's lazy people too, but it's mostly naive and stupid, and they're the useful idiots that are perpetuating this stuff, and they're the most devout preachers of it. And people like Bronx Blogger are exactly what I'm talking about. He has no concept, because I don't think he's ever had to do actual manual labor, or he thinks he's somehow going to be exempt from it.
I know he works like a security job or something.
Yeah, he sits in a little shack. That's where he films all his fucking videos. He sits in a security shack. I've done that job. Did that job in college. You sit around for like 8 hours and hit a button occasionally to let people in. Ooh, that's not real work.
Well, to me, the funniest part of it is when you see these people who are, the strident communists who are using all of their consumer products, especially the anti-consumerism ones. It's like, you're telling me about that on your iPhone. Do you not get the irony?
No, because stuff like that won't exist in the future.
You've turned it into an irony phone.
Perfectly equal Chinese communists built that phone for them. What's the problem?
Yeah,
yes,
they were all like 7 or 8 years old.
You ass. All those equal 8-year-olds made that for you. By the way, they're not eating tonight.
I said that back. I said, I know where I live too, buddy. You want a trophy? He said, yes, please. I said, come get it. I got different kinds. He said, nice. What from? I am so close to saying 22 to 308.
Just give the manufacturer name, man.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
All right, I actually have to go get some work done. I can imagine that, working for a living.
Well, yeah. I'm going to close this up because I do want to get a video out today. So, Polly, if you want to stick around for the closing, you can. If not,
I
I
will.
understand.
No, I got a couple.
All right. So, chat, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Thanks for the donations. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. You complete me. Seriously, you do. That's how I eat ramen. Sinatra, is there anything you'd like to shill today?
Yeah, as soon as the stream ends, I'll have a video going live.
It's on your main channel, right?
Yep.
Over on Sinatra Says, guys. Make sure you go check that out. Polly, anything you'd like to show?
Yeah, Stargazer's been nice enough to be putting up my channel link, but there it is again. I have the second part of my hottest women in the MCU list coming out today. A video collab between Weibo Jones and myself. It was a lot of fun recording it. I hope we get to do something like that again soon. And then Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Yes, will be Comic Book Curation Live at sometime roughly after 10 p.m. Eastern, where Jack Inquisitor and myself will talk about all things comic books, and Vertigo Comics is deader than dead, and Marvel Comics wants to write plays for middle schoolers to perform. Shit's getting weird this week, guys, so lots to talk about. It'll be a good time. Cool.
And don't forget, his video that drops today is the actual top 10 list, so make sure you check that out.
It is. I'm looking forward to catching the hate.
Jack, anything you want to show?
My new video just dropped about an hour ago on Neon Future issue 3.
There you go. Make sure you guys watch that. Tonight we will be on Scribe Light's channel, 9 p.m. Eastern time for Lords of the Night. No game stream tonight. I may do some of my own gaming, so just keep an eye on Twitter if you want to see what's going on. Make sure you follow everybody. Chat, thank you guys so much for coming. Sinatra, Polly, Jack, a pleasure as always, gentlemen. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Have a good day, everyone.